Welcome, everyone. I am just saying this. There's no one actually here yet. I'm just saying that to the whoever's watching this back. I'm gonna tweet this out right now. It's time. It's the fucking draft. Oh my goodness, this is amazing. Hello, everyone. We are here. I'm sending this in all my group DMs because who else are you if you're not sending? You're asking for boosts in all your group DMs. Welcome, everyone. Yeah, I get why the Wizards did it though. Moving back their timeline a little bit does make sense if they don't think they're ready to contend yet. And 2 firsts plus expiring Brogdon definitely isn't terrible for Denny though. I certainly like it more from the Blazers POV. Denny is an ascending player on an incredible team friendly deal. And I think he makes a lot of sense with Portland's core. But yeah, I understand why the Wizards did it. I probably wouldn't have done it myself. But overall, I do get it. But yeah, welcome to the stream, everyone. Hart to OKC seems possible, and that would honestly be really, really good. That'd be an incredible fit. Um, yeah. Very, very intrigued to see what Atlanta does. Seems like it's just going to be Reese's share, right? Like, is that what they're saying? Like, I mean, I guess anything could happen, but I think the OG deal is probably fine. Yeah, I mean, in a vacuum, I'd say that's a little much for OG, especially with the player option. But the Knicks are, I don't know, kind of locked into this core at the point. Like, it would have been bad if they traded a bunch of firsts for Bridges and then didn't pay OG. Like, that would be a lateral move that I don't, or maybe even worse than lateral because they lose the assets. But I think overall the OG deal is good. But yeah, here's my full top 100, all the prospects, the tiers. We're going to be crossing these guys off as they get picked. We're going to be giving live grades for each of the pick, which should be fun. I'm not going to be tweeting them out this year because I am going to be kind to my mentions. Honestly, not tweeting as much during the draft, which I'm going to probably not do, is honestly really nice. Just because tweeting during the draft is like all of the worst. All of the worst shit ever. But we're gonna be doing all of that. 22 people in here already. That's awesome. I am hoping to get as many people in here as well. If your friends are interested, would love a share, like, retweet, all of this. Are we avoiding spoilers? No, this is going to be a spoilers stream. So if you are not okay with spoilers, then I would pick a different draft stream just because it's like so impossible to avoid, right? I don't want to like have to be policing people in the comments and dealing with that. And I also like to get the picks. If you want to like wait for your team to like hear the pick, I would recommend muting the stream or closing. I would recommend closing when your team picks. Would I trade the Wizards second? And I don't think so. I don't really know why the Wizards would do that, right? Because it seems like the Wizards are going to have their guy at 2, right? Like the Wizards are going to have Sar by all accounts. So I feel like they're in a good spot. Yeah. Yeah, Sar and Collier would be incredible. Topic and Collier would be absolutely incredible. We're going to have some fun guests throughout the show as well. Potentially, like I said, I'm going to be working on this in the background. But yeah, really exciting time. I can't wait. I'm a little overwhelmed right now, but this is what this 25 minutes before the draft is kind of I was actually talking about this with someone earlier. I think the Sixers make a pick today, but it's probably more 50-50. I could totally see them trading the pick. Um, wouldn't shock me at all. Yeah, Brogdon's not a bad asset to get just because of the expiring, and they can reroute him to a contender. Um, oh yes, good call, Matthew. Thank you. Washington, absolutely, we are doing that. Beautiful. This is awesome. Best Tyler Smith fit? I do like Cleveland a lot. Cleveland, I think, is great. Would be great for Tyler. I think Miami would be cool. I think pretty much all these teams like in this range. I think for Tyler would be nice. OKC would be good, but I don't think he goes that high. Where would Lively go in this draft if we knew how his rookie season? Probably really high. Probably higher than he should, honestly. I am a huge Lively guy, but I feel like some team would like take him at number 1 this year, which I mean I like get it, but I probably wouldn't. Probably would not do that. But yeah, I'm interested to see how this being 2 days ends up going. How the energy of the second round is going to be, because that could end up being interesting. It's going to be fun. Of course, we're going to be on here during the second round. We all know that. But yeah, Woj said Hawks down to Reese's share and Reed. Wow, Reed at 1 would be interesting. I would prefer that to. I would definitely prefer Reed to Reese's share or Klingon, to be honest. That would be really interesting. Yeah, I have like the ESPN broadcast on mute in the background, so feel free to drop anything in the chat that's relevant in terms of information or whatever. I'm definitely going to be getting it from the chat. Yeah, Reed would be good. I'm not exactly sure like what I would think of it, but I think it would be better for sure. I still think I still think Reed 1 is a little rich, but I know there's a lot of people who love Reed. Yeah, I could definitely see Rob and Holland following. That would be huge, really, really huge. Overall, I don't exactly know. Do I think that Ron Holland is better than Patrick Williams? Yes. I would say Ron Holland is going to be better than Patrick Williams, and I am a Patrick Williams fan. 20 minutes to send. Yeah. If anybody has Landry Fields' numbers, yeah, text him did I see the Salon at 6 rumors? I did see those rumors. I have actually mocked Salon to Charlotte at 6 multiple times. I don't think I ended up with Charlotte at 6 or with Tijon at 6 in my final mock. I don't remember exactly. Easy Hoop, my goat. I don't remember exactly who I gave Charlotte my final mock. I can actually check right now that I did for Sports Kita. Okay, yeah, I gave them Connect, but I could totally see them going with Miami. Want to trade up for 10? That would be I wouldn't hate the Solo pick. I think it would probably be like a solid C for me. Like I like Solo more than some people, but probably a little rich at 6, I would say. But this draft is weird. Miami want to trade up for 10 for Holland. That would be absurd. What should the Wizards do at 14? Man, this like if the Wizards come out of this draft with Sar and Collier, Topic, or Rob, I will give this draft an A++. That would be incredible. But yeah, Claxton extended. Oh wow, I wonder if they're gonna deal him. I like that. That's a great deal for the Nets, honestly. I'm kind of surprised they extended him. Wow. That's interesting. Considering the move, obviously. I mean, I really like Claxton. I think his real peak is closer to what he did in 2022, 2023, just because of how dysfunctional the Nets were last year. I don't know. That's surprising to me, but I really like Claxton. I definitely don't hate retaining him. And that's a pretty good deal to me, honestly. Like 25 AAV for Claxton is not bad to me at all. Um, Interesting deal. Yeah. Yeah, they could definitely move Claxton deadline. That's a very tradable contract. Very, very tradable contract. We may be having our first guest on in just a moment, actually. One second. Yeah, we are going to be having our first guest on the show, somebody who is currently in chat, who I'm excited to talk to about some of the upcoming picks and to talk a little bit of the preview. What do you think about Derek? I am nervous but hopeful because I just think Derek's injury stuff seems to be quite worrisome, and it's like been a trend at this point. But I love Derek, and I think if Derek is playing, he's going to be sick. Like I have a lot of faith in Derek, generally speaking, like as a player. I would like to go back and watch some of Derek's G League stuff. From what I've seen, Derek's G League stuff didn't seem that encouraging. Ron's fit on Ron to the Hornets is like one of my favorite picks in the whole draft. Like, I think Ron on the Hornets. We're expecting OG to get paid by the Knicks. Yeah, I'm not surprised at all. And welcome, Dan. We have our first guest of this stream. My good buddy Dan Ollinger. He covers the Sixers for Rights Ricky Sanchez pod, and I'm very thankful he is generously giving some of his time to hang out with us before the draft starts. So Dan, how's it going? How are we feeling?
I'm doing all right, Ben. Same thing happened. Like I put my phone down for 30 minutes last night, and the whole Knicks Nets trade blew up, and I had like to check my phone was on fire. Not as much today, but with the Avdia trade, every time I keep putting my phone down, moves happen. So I'm like refreshing like crazy now. And also, I did just see that Brad Rowland said that he also has heard some of the Reed Shepherd at One Buzz. So
interesting. I will be spoiling this at some point soon. I am supposed to be we're supposed to have Brad on at some point to talk about the Hawks pick. But Dan, you're a Sixers guy. Do you have any thoughts, ideas on what direction the Sixers might go? Obviously, you know, they could pick here. People have definitely kind of hypothesized that this could be a trade situation for a Murray or for an Ingram. If you had to guess on what's going to happen with them, what would you say?
I mean, selfishly, I want them to make the pick because I like,
yeah,
like 99% of Sixers fans and like Sixers people are very much more about free agency trades, just all the moves like that.
I mean, that makes sense for a team that's always trying to contend, right?
Yeah, and like I'm like the rare guys like, yeah, I don't care too much about free agency and trades because it's like I find it so impossible to predict most of the time that I'm like I mean, it's not like the draft is as like easy to predict, but it's at least with that I have fun watching all the players. So I honestly think it is very likely they make the pick just because like I don't know what trade is out there. Like the only one, and I don't know why the Wolves would do this, but in case the Wolves are trying to get out in front of their bill, I did say like, and I kind of want to manifest it. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, the Sixers would be like because he has 1 year left on that deal, and I know he would trade the 16th pick and other stuff for him as like a very helpful player that the Sixers maybe could then extend afterwards.
Yeah, like, Nickeil there would be really interesting. That's a very good.
Oh no, I would love it, but like besides that, and unless I knew there was like, until I know the trade is out there, like the DeAnthony Melton situation was very specific, where Melton was like getting pushed out of a Grizzlies team where he was still clearly very good, but they didn't want to pay him.
That was the pick that ended up being Roddy, right?
Yes. Sixers won that trade by a good bit.
A guy with the fingernails. Yeah, Jared McCain would be great. Rob with the We've talked about the draft before publicly and privately. You personally, who are your top Sixers targets, the guys that you would go crazy for if they ended up with tonight? I mean, I know what you're going to say pretty much, but tell the people who you're thinking about and what makes sense for them as potential Sixers this year in the draft.
I mean, I didn't think it was going to happen, but if Ron Holland's still there at 16, they better take him. Like, I just think you can't. They need a wing. Like, if people don't know, like the only like 3 players guaranteed to be on this, and not even the third isn't even guaranteed, but probably guaranteed to be on the Sixers next year are Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, and Ricky Council. Like, that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
The entire roster is clean.
So it seems like it's pretty ripe to inject some interesting talent into this roster, even if it's not necessarily someone that might be like the most quote unquote ready to play right now. Yeah.
And we even saw like, I think like a low end comp for Ron. He probably doesn't as much touch as him, but has a lot more upside as like a good decision maker and defender. And even maybe not as a shooter, but because like they used like some of Ron's best actions were those flip DHOs, and the Sixers got so much use out of Kelly Oubre. They made a huge bet with Kelly Oubre last year. They just needed more athletes, and it worked out so well for them for a minimum contract where Kelly's athleticism just meaningfully changed their team on both ends. They just did not have that level of pop with like their past wings. And say that there's like, it seems like they want to bring Kelly back. Like, it depends on where they use their money and all that stuff. Like, they're trying to figure out if Batum's retiring or not, if they can bring him back. So, but like if you have Kelly Oubre and Ron Holland, those are 2 like freakish athletes on the wing to really pair with already 2 great players in Max and Embiid. So I think Ron's definitely the one you run up. I know me and Ahmed, when we talked about it the other day, disagreed about Jared McCain. I know you're a big Jared fan. Like, and I think he probably does like project to be the 6th man for the Sixers if they end up taking him at 16, just because the defensive limitations of 2 guards that short next to him and Maxey.
That's fair. Reasonable.
But like in a bad draft, if you get a really, really good 6th man at 16, I think that's a great pick.
If they took Rob, would you feel that just like his talent level kind of outweighs the potential defensive size issues with Maxey in the backcourt?
It's like, so if Rob and Ron are there, I would rather take Ron just because you have concerns. But like, if of the fallers, like Rob is the one that's left, then yeah, I'm fine with like taking Rob. Like, there's no if the Sixers leave this draft with Rob Dillingham, I will have questions about the fit, but I'm also like, is it possible the Sixers got the best player of the draft? Like 5 years down the line, I'm saying that. Like, yeah, I think that's a world that could happen. So I don't think you can ever be upset about that, even if the fit is a little shaky.
Right. If you're getting a player that talented at that juncture in the draft, it's hard to really be like that mad about it. And the Sixers, I mean, they historically have not been opposed to taking prospects at positions they already have throughout the, quote unquote process.
What do you mean?
Didn't they have, I mean, aside from the nefarious shit that I'm obviously referring to, didn't they had like, I know Ben obviously was there, but they had other guards on the roster when they took Maxey maybe, or?
Well, no, I know what you were referencing, I thought, but like what I was just talking about at the very start, like a decade ago when it went Embiid, Nerlens, Embiid, and Jahlil Okafor.
Sure, that is what I was referencing. Yes, that's correct.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's obviously the main one, but like other than that, like they haven't had too many positional overlaps, I would say, mainly because the roster has fluctuated so much with Furkan Korkmaz gone now. Like Maxey is Embiid's longest tenured teammate by a lot. So
Furkan being gone, so sad. Sixers legend. Truly.
So are the Hawks really going to take Ricochet at 1?
I don't know. That would be crazy. So Alex says, who would ideally be the Celtics for the English? Who would be ideal for the Celtics to get realistically in the draft? You're a big Celtics guy, Dan. So I know you'll have thoughts about this. We torment Dan in our group chat so much. I don't know why exactly, but he's just an easy guy.
Well, it's because I'm easy to promote, so I understand.
And Dan's a good sport, and so we appreciate that. But I think Boston is in a really good spot to take one of these like higher upside guys, just because nobody they pick is going to play this year or maybe even next year. they have basically everyone under contract, at least for the next 2 years. Tillman, it's literally just Tillman and Cornette. They have Tillman's bird rights, so I would imagine they bring him back.
Well, they have to start thinking about how they're going to build out the roster on Jaden Springer once
That's so true. That is so true.
Listen,
obviously,
once they teach him to jump off of 1 foot, like, oh my goodness.
But yeah, I don't know.
I was gonna say for the Celtics, I had mentioned it to you before because I saw the one mock draft where like they had Kyle Filipowski at 30, and I'm not even a huge Filipowski like fan. I'm not like a hater. I'm like pretty average on him. Like I understand it, but I keep saying that he should go to a team that plays a 5-out offense because that's what he's going to be best at. Just with his passing, his shooting, kind of like minimizes some of his concerns. Like if he goes to a team where there is any like non-5-out offense or like spacing issues, like I think that could be a problem for him. But if he goes to the Celtics, like again, it's like me and my brother have a long-running joke where we say whenever a guy can't shoot but like can cut and is athletic, just send him to Denver and Jokic will fix him. Like it's the kind of thing where when you're those teams at the mountaintop, like you can take so many different kinds of bets because your ecosystem is so good. It's like there's so many ways you can see it working.
Absolutely. I certainly agree with that. And I think when it comes to a team like the Celtics, because of their level of thanks, Joe. Because of their level of depth, they can kind of afford to take whatever position they want. And I think it's for them especially, it's more about being able to do the shit they like on both ends, to be a versatile defensive player who can really move and communicate offensively, being able to dribble and pass and make decisions. I think Flip would be great there. I think Mogbo would be great there. I don't think Deron Holmes is going to be there, but that would be awesome. I also like I like the idea of them taking like a Dadia or a Chomchi or a Durasic or something and just stashing them. Woj supposedly saying Arisa Share, which I mean that's not going to be super surprising, but we'll wait until it actually gets 100% official leak to just like discuss it as if it's true, and then.
Well, I was just gonna ask if Risa Shea, because I was like openly wondering, like, because we've heard for months he's probably the guy at 1 that they're gonna take, and I've been so confused by it because when I think about it, like I don't think he's a bad player, but I was trying to think what are the ways he becomes like a star, and the only two like pathways I saw, like, and even these guys aren't really stars per se, but a guy like Keegan Murray or Trey Murphy, where the reason Keegan like has become such a good player is he hits those threes off movement at such ridiculous foot angles where he's like flying, like his body will like just be turning like more than 90 degrees midair and he can still hit the shot. And because teams to be so worried about him shooting at those angles, it opens up advantage creation. And same with Trey, where Trey's so willing to just catch and quickly shoot from like 30 feet off the spot that it kind of opens up those same things. So he has to become that level of like dynamic shooter, I think, to have any chance of like opening that up. And I'm like, so that's what you're betting on, that like he's that kind of shooter? Like I just don't understand.
With Risa Share here is that the Hawks aren't like one piece away from being a title team, right? Like I think most people agree that there needs to be like quite a bit of wholesale change for this roster. And I get that Risa Share is like could be a good piece, but if you are like in this position where the Hawks like, you know, if they draft a Risa Share or a Klingon or a Reed Shepard, that's not making them a title team. So why not just go for, you know, take a guy who might not quote unquote fit as cleanly, but has that chance to be a real star. But that's obviously how I view the draft, and a lot of people are not the same.
And even if Reed, like, which I agree with, like, I think Reed's good and probably not a star, but I think when our friend Matt like asked about false ceiling prospects, I listed like Reed and Jared McCain as my two options, just because at least with Reed, I can at least see the argument that if he really is, like he was in Kentucky, this generational shooter where he is just like absurd shooting numbers, I can at least see like that crazy level of impact versus Risa Shea. Like we just don't have as much evidence that that's going to happen. At least with Reed, it's like, okay, I understand that you're thinking that if this guy is this kind of shooter, like maybe we are just unlocking something that teams aren't ready for versus this.
And
like,
I do think Risa Shea, incredible. I think Reed and Trey would be an incredible offensive backcourt. Defense would be a big question at that point. Maybe even more so, but that would be an amazing offensive backcourt. Hi, Kyle. Hi, everyone else who said hi. Thank you all for being here. We're hanging out, but before the stream, just talked about Risa Share. I think Klingon would probably be a little bit better than Risa Share, even though that's not seeming like it's going to happen now. But I wouldn't
I mean, Klingon, it doesn't seem like it's going to be Klingon. I mean, Klingon's fine. I don't think he's bad. He's good, but like again, it's going back to
it's an uninspiring number one pick. It is what it is,
Yeah.
right? It's like
going back to like when we talk about Ricochet, it's just the thing where it's like it felt like the Hawks got such a huge break. They needed a huge break to dig themselves out from this hole they got in from the DeJounte trade. And it's like, oh, getting number one might be that break. And you're just using it on a guy that, like, heck, if another team gets it, like, I'd not think it would be impossible for the Hawks to get Ricochet at 10 like a few months ago. Like, so why are I just don't understand
that's not happening. That's not happening. So that's not happening anymore. I mean, it seems like the league, or at least like like the Gavoni types have, and like the the type, like the mainstream media draft people have been kind of in on Ricochet as like the top guy for a long time, even if myself and you and many other people on like quote unquote draft Twitter have disagreed with that. It does seem like that's been a while. Magmang says, do you see Ricochet dropping at all? Seems unlikely. Seems like he's going to go pretty high. If it's not one, I would bet he goes in the top. I would be shocked to see him get past the Spurs. Like I feel like Wemby would just be pissed if they passed on him. I know we were talking to a Spurs reporter who said that Melvin Ajinça is like Wemby's guy, and they're probably like 100% going to take him if he's there. I feel like that wouldn't shock me if Ricochet was like that too. Yeah, overall, I don't know. Seems like Ricochet is going to be the guy at 1, or at least in the top 4. I agree with most of the people here, right? That it's just, I don't know. I feel like the consensus in this stream is definitely going to be lower on Ricochet. But he is, he's not like bad or anything. Like, I don't think this is, it definitely will be like it'll definitely be the worst number 1 pick since Bennett, but it's not going to be a Bennett level disaster. And I guess technically, I think if you're factoring in who went after, Ayton is worse because you're not passing on Luka or Jaren or Trey this year. So from that perspective, I guess it's not as bad as 2018. But yeah, I don't know. I would be worried. But anyway, Dan, are there any other specific prospects that you're like particularly intrigued to see where they land, or any particular teams that you're like really interested to see what they end up doing? Non-Sixers, obviously, we'll say here.
I was gonna say like, because I don't have the one guy I haven't been able to get a good read on how he projects is Modest. Like I'm confused by Modest if he's gonna work or not. I don't hate. I feel fine about him. I like understand it. Some of the like bad flashes, like whenever these guys like I feel like they need to put on weight or they're not super strong, especially at these bigger positions, it just starts to concern me. Like anyone who's heard me talk knows I'm not a big Jacoby fan. This is like my big problem with him, but I definitely see some of the vision of Modest. And like, who do you think's like the best? What's the best environment for Modest to go to?
Probably not Detroit. Even though that kind of seems. I mean, I think if Modest was one of the San Antonio picks, that would be really good. I think he would only amplify Wemby with his rim protection, would have a good amount of space to be a driver, and probably wouldn't, it wouldn't be like a disaster or anything if he couldn't compete or really do anything in year 1 or maybe even year 2. Honestly, I think Atlanta would be cool. I mean, it's not going to happen, but I think Atlanta would be a good fit. But overall, I think this is Mag says, would you rather have Ricochet or Denny in terms of the Hawks being competitive? I mean, right now it's obviously Denny, I think. Like, yeah,
Denny's the better player right now, but even that, like, I wouldn't trade Denny for the number 1 overall pick. So
yeah, no, I would not.
Or wait, the other way around. I wouldn't trade the number 1 overall pick for Denny. Is what I meant.
Understood. I was saying, excuse me, I was saying the same thing. But yeah, even though I do really like the value Portland got for Denny, largely just because of his contract. I mean, he's certainly a better player than Ricochet now, and I don't know, like, what would you say Denny was like a top 75, top 60 guy last year? Like, he was pretty damn good last year. I don't know if that good, but like
top 100 at least, I think.
Fair enough. I feel like I was gonna say, do you think Ricochet is like ever like a top 100 player? I feel like that's pretty, like, he can be a top 100 player.
Yeah, it's whenever you do those lists, it starts to get into those lists are always funny because once you get into like the 60 through 100 ranges where you get really stupid conversations.
Yeah, no. Well, I think for a guy like Denny, you can make a case just because of like the expansion to his offensive game he made on a dog shit team. But yeah, I don't know. I think that trade was good, and I think I certainly wouldn't have traded 1 for Denny. Yeah, that would not have been good. But yeah, it really is unfortunate that it's not going to be Sarr, because Sarr in Atlanta would be so good.
Yeah, I just don't. And I get there's like the whole thing that, oh, did Sarr not want to go to Atlanta, or did he want to go to Washington? And I guess presumably, like my just pure guess would be that they're saying Sarr didn't want to go there because he thinks, oh, well, they already have a guy in Trey, and like I'm not going to be the guy there versus Washington. I could be maybe, but like he's a draft pick. Like you can call that. I don't think Sarr is not going to play for you if you draft him as the Hawks. Like he will probably play for you, and he'll probably do what Trae Young says on the court. I think it still would have worked.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe there's some validity to the idea that Sarr isn't like, the number one choice. But yeah, I don't know. It makes so much sense. Yeah, I think Sarr's mobility and all that stuff makes a lot of sense. I'm a Portland player. Oh, I was like, damn, we have a Portland player in our. Oh, good question, Dan. Would you rather have Sarr or Lively?
Like, oh.
I think I'd probably take Sarr, but I don't think it's crazy to take.
Because I'm a coward, I would say Lively, just because I am 1,000% sure now he's an good NBA center.
Sure, yeah.
The cowardice there probably.
I would take Sarr. Sure, I'll take Sarr because I'm not a coward.
Yeah, but like it's very close. And I was talking about earlier how I think Sarr's floor is a lot higher than people are giving it credit for. Because at worst, if his offense doesn't develop like people want, the shot never comes around. Well, he's still he's 7 feet without shoes, and he's gonna be one of the fastest humans in the NBA. Like that's just that like there's a shortage of people that that legitimately tall who also can move like in an important way. Like they'll always get a chance. Like Jackson Hayes is not a good center. Jackson Hayes still gets chances because Jackson Hayes is fast and tall. Like these guys get chances. So I really do think Sarr is just.
Yeah, I agree.
At very worst, Sarr I think is a good backup center, and that's like if it goes 0th percentile outcome.
I agree with that, and I think the Lively. I think it's also true that Lively was in like the most perfect situation possible.
Oh yeah,
and that's not to take away from what he does or how good he is, just to contextualize his success. Because like, if he wasn't playing for a team that made the finals and had Luka Doncic, he probably still could have been great. But I don't think people would kind of view it the same way.
Oh no, it's the same. It's why people like think Gafford's probably better than he is now, is because if you're a rim running big, you playing with Luka, you look just so. We saw the same thing with like Bruce Brown's value probably got inflated this past year because he got to play with Jokic for a year. Like this stuff, when you play next to the best players in the world, sometimes your value goes up for a year.
Absolutely. I'm not even going to try to say your name. Says, what do you think of the Thompson twins as prospects? We both love the Thompson twins as prospects. I don't mean to speak for you, but I believe you were a Thompson's guy.
Yeah. I'm concerned about Asar's shot looking that bad, but like obviously still pretty. I still like him a lot, and I mean, for people who didn't watch, like Amen Thompson, the second half of the year in Houston was a special way to close the season.
He was so sick. Like he was amazing. Kaysen or Reed? I'm taking Kaysen, but I feel like most people would take Reed. I was really high on Kaysen, and I'm not like crazy high on Reed. I don't know what you think.
I'd probably go Kaysen, but like very close. Reed is probably the better shooter, and Reed makes all those flashy plays defensively, but Kaysen's so good at like not getting beat on ball on defense.
If you could like fuse Reed and Kaysen together, offense, defense, that would be like an incredible player.
The Thunder would be even more West favorites than they probably already are.
We are. Looks like we're live. The Hawks are on the clock.
I know Sixers Adam said they're not the pick will be announced at 8:09.
I did see that. That's a hilarious little bit of reporting from our buddy Sixers Adam. Dan, who's it going to be? Call your shot. Is it just Reese's share?
It's probably just Reese's share.
I think it's probably just Reese's share as well.
And then I think it's going to be Sarr 2 to the Wizards. And then do we think – I keep seeing that Reed's going to go 3 to the Rockets then? Do you think that's what happens?
I'm not sure if those are like the smoke or that's just what Rockets fans want. But I feel
like most mock drafts I've seen have had him at 3.
Yeah, I think that's also what I have, and I think that's totally reasonable. I think Reed there.
I think those are going to be the top 3, and then I don't understand what happens from there because the Spurs, I'm not sure what they're going to do, and then
they could do literally anything. The Spurs could do absolutely anything,
and then the Pistons, like got screwed over so hard in the lottery going to 5, where the best fits for their team that they very much need are kind of like gone off the board. Like, because the Pistons are a team where, oh man, I think the Pistons would make a ton. Reed would help them out a lot. Like, so that's the kind of thing where I can see
that would be a much more favorable, like Risa share situation. Like,
yeah,
if anyone has to take him high, I'm like, okay, I get the Pistons. I get the Pistons doing that, but overall, I would assume the Spurs draft a guard with at least one of the picks. Like, you'd think. Whether that's
my only concern with like why they wouldn't take Topic is like, I think the Spurs want to get better pretty quickly because they're feeling the impetus of, hey, don't waste Wemby's time. So
I could definitely see them taking Carter.
That Devin Carter at 4 after like he wasn't on
probably
the radar.
Not at 4. Probably not. That would be kind of crazy. Probably not 4, but I do think Carter at 8 is pretty likely. It wouldn't shock me to see Reed there if he falls. I would really like Collier or even Rob there, but I don't know if that's going to actually happen. Any of the guards, though, I think, like, or the guards reasonably expected to be at that spot. Ooh, I like Sarr's fit. Sarr's suit is great. Did you see McCain's suit, Dan?
I have not seen it.
It was crazy.
I've not been keeping up with like the broadcast itself as much when I just keep up with updates.
I saw him like posting TikToks earlier, and it was like he had like a fucking like cropped suit with like a cool button patterning, and like he was dripped out. Like he was dripped out to the max, and I would expect nothing less from Jared McCain. I think if there was one player who I'm like I think he's definitely the player I'm most like hoping is this really, really good out of this class. I obviously want all of these young men to be successful.
Do you have ideal fits for McCain?
It's a good question. I think the Pelicans would be cool. I've mocked that a couple times. Just like to get them a guy who can really get threes up. Because they definitely do kind of still need that. Who else would be good? I think Miami would be good. I think LA would be good. Oh, Orlando would probably be amazing.
I feel like Orlando. I think there are a decent number of Magic fans who want him for that exact reason. Just give us a shooter.
Yeah, that would be good. I mean, yeah. What he said. What do you think about Nolan Traore? I love Traore. I have Traore at 2 in 2025. He's so sick.
Oh, I don't have the scouting reports on 2025 yet, but if people saw my brother rank the names of like all the prospects, I can give you an early 2025 ranking of the names in the next year's draft. Do you want that from him?
Yeah,
I can't tell you how
Cooper Flag.
I can't tell you how hard I laughed when he like looked genuinely concerned when I told him Johnny Furthy's name. He was like really upset by that.
Someone said, is McCain similar to Jordan Hawkins? Not really to me. They're both smaller guards who are great shooters, but Hawkins was like a pure like sprint off movement guy, where I think McCain is more of like an on ball shooter, and is also I think just like a better ball handler and passer. Hawkins a better off ball mover. Some broad similarities, but overall I think McCain is better than Hawkins was. But I was also pretty low on Hawkins.
Hawkins is a lot faster, but McCain is much more like I would bet money that McCain's like squat and bench press is way higher because McCain is like physically built.
He's stocky and like strong as shit. He's so strong.
His pro hops, he is like just like he just knocks bigger dudes out of the way. Like
I do really love his ability to play off of 2 feet in space. Like it's just a very valuable trait that a lot of young guards don't have. Like they'll rush their shit, but McCain is pretty much always going to be controlled. What should the Hornets do at 6? I think Ron to the Hornets would be unbelievable. It's not going to happen, I don't think, but like that would be my favorite fit. And I honestly think roster construction wise, Modest makes sense too. Even if I'm like I don't love any like super developmental guy going to Charlotte, just because I don't know. Maybe I'm too hard on them because they do have Charles Lee and newish front office now, so maybe it's gonna be fine. But I would like Modest there as well.
I'm not.
Any other guys that you'd like for Charlotte, Dan?
Well, I was gonna say I know neither of us are super high on him like in a vacuum, but I think Stephon Castle like makes even if they made him to admit he's not a point guard, I think he fits perfectly with
Sure,
LaMelo.
yeah. If Castle admits he's not a point guard, then I think that would make sense. Yeah, but like
He's such a good short roller. Like he should just be like you're 4 inches taller and better Bruce Brown by like a lot. And Bruce Brown just made a ton of money. Like you are very good, but like at these things.
No, I fully agree with you there. I'm like, just do what you're good at, man. Like, do what you're good at. All right, looks like the Hawks pick is in. I assume it's gonna get leaked in a second. Oh yeah, it's Reese to share. Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of underwhelming. As we kind of expected, right?
This has to be this is easily the first time it's been 2 French players back-to-back years.
Probably, right?
I can't be missing anyone, right?
Dan, what grade are we giving this? My instant thought is like C-, D+ type. Not like a horrible disaster pick, but like really uninspiring, and for all the reasons we talked about. Like, obviously, we can talk about the pick, but like I feel like we spent the last like 20 minutes talking about the Reese's share pick. But it looks
C+
like
C+ is about right, and I'm definitely a much more generous grader. I try and keep things around like it has to be really bad. Like unless like the next pick is like Cam Spencer, I'm not like going.
Wow, Cam Spencer slander is crazy.
I like Cam Spencer as like a UDFA or like a last 8 picks guy.
All right, yeah, we're gonna give it a C+ for now. Again, no shade to Reese's share or anything. Just not a pick like Mark said. Hey Mark, can you give me direct Pokemon comps for the top 5 on your draft board? I feel like Ron Holland's like a rock ground type.
No, you need a strong physical attacker who's fast. He can be Blaziken.
Fair enough. I don't hate that.
Ron Holland.
I feel like Blaziken's not built like that though. He doesn't have that kind of dog in him. I don't know.
Infernape then, because he's also like the same. Like
I think Infernape is better. Infernape is Ron Holland gives Machoke vibes, just strong as shit. Yeah.
Machoke can't bend at angles like that. Alex Sarr, like
we're talking about Machamp's ankle flexion right now. Like, it's not even picked. The first pick hasn't even been officially announced. We're talking about.
Rob Dillingham.
Reese's share is totally a normal type. That's totally true. All these shooting wings are normal types. Kyle Shams tweeted out the pick, like, and we've kind of like there's been speculation for like an hour now, so we're kind of just assuming that it is Sar's Alakazam. I kind of like that, honestly.
I think of him like, again, like you need really skinny but fast, so like a Noivern. Like I like that a lot. I'm thinking of like the thinner dragons.
I was thinking of like Dragonair.
Yeah, like, but Dragonair doesn't have arms, no wingspan, so.
Yep, it is on TV, Reese's share. Happy for him though. Very cool. But yeah, like I said, probably not the pick that I would have personally made. But it is the pick that the Hawks made, and we're gonna see how this goes. Curious to see if the Hawks make any other moves here, but overall, yeah, we don't love this pick here. Don't hate it or anything. Yeah, Alex Sarr, Rayquaza light. That's so crazy. Alex Sarr is Rayquaza, and Evan Mobley is Mega Rayquaza, and Jaren Jackson is Mega Rayquaza. But yeah, so Washington on the clock. Let's see if we get a tweet or anything.
Feels like it has to be Sarr.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel like it's going to be Sarr, right? I mean, it should be Sarr. I think just assuming that is the pick, like, it makes so much sense to me, like, to get a guy like Sarr who can be your defensive anchor for the near and far future while still like maintaining like a spot for your future creator in the next couple drafts. Like, Sarr is great. Sarr's great, and but he's not going to be good enough to like take you out of tanking range next year.
We're very much going to get like Bilal Koulibaly 30 usage season.
Oh, I can't wait. Give it to me now, please.
I love Bilal in those minutes when I watched him playing with Wemby. I thought he's great.
It's kind of I love Bilal, man. Yeah. Everyone, what do we think? Is there anybody in this chat who's really high on the pick? Who's really high on Risa Sher? Because I feel like we're all going to be pretty unanimous. I mean, I'm sure there's someone who likes the pick in this chat. There must be, but I know Hawks fans. Yeah, sorry, Beckham. I know the Hawks fans who I've been chatting with on these streams and have been preparing for this, and it did happen. But I don't know. I mean, yeah. I was gonna say it could be worse, but like they could have picked like Connect. I guess that would have been worse.
How high are you ready for how high Connect's gonna go? I think I like Connect a little more than you, but I remember
people
seeing
like Connect more than me. Honestly, I'm not.
What if he goes at like number 5? Are you ready for it?
I mock him at 5 or 6 every time in my mocks. Coda said, does this mean anything for Jalen Johnson? I feel like the Risa Sher pick honestly has fairly minimal impact on Jalen, at least thinking about it. Like, I don't think those two really overlap. If anything, just like gives Jalen more guys to pass to and another like good transition partner. I don't know. I feel like Risa Sher and Jalen don't have like super multiplying skill sets or detracting skill sets or anything. Like, I don't really think that's super like, I don't know, meaningful when you already when you already have DeAndre Hunter, you have to go out and get DeAndre Hunter. Jesus Christ, Mark.
Is Saddiq Bey? He's a free agent, right?
I don't actually know.
Because I was with Saddiq Bey, DeAndre Hunter, and Zachary Risa-Shea is a real like those are three wings that exist. Like, I don't know how I feel about that grouping right there.
Okay, Shams says Sar at 2, so no surprise there. So we're gonna put it in for now, and this is gonna be an A. I'm not gonna give them an A+ because they didn't really have to do anything here. They kind of just like made the obvious pick.
I feel like it's an A+ if it's like.
I think so. I feel like
just because like if it's the best possible pick they could have made there, I feel like that's the whole thing. It's like, what else are they supposed to do?
Is. I don't know. I feel like
would you get A+ for Ron then?
No, I don't think so. I feel like I wouldn't really give an A+ for anyone here, just because like I don't know. I don't think there's anyone really like A+ level, but like when the Sixers take Ron, I'll give them an A+. Dan.
Yeah, I don't really grade based on difficulty. Like, I would have given the Spurs A+ for Wemby, just because I'm like, well,
yeah, that is
yeah. This is the easiest test in the world, but you still got it right. Like,
that is true. Okay, fine. I'll give it an A+. You've convinced me for now. Congrats, Wizards fans. You get an A+. Saddiq is a restricted free agent with a torn ACL. Yeah, that's unfortunate, honestly. He's had some tough injury breaks over the last couple of years. But yeah, Sar, I think, fits well with Koulibaly. Assuming they keep him, I think Sar and Kispert are a sneaky, interesting combo. Just with like the kind of like DHO flow stuff they can run. Kispert's a really nice like pick interior passer. I do like that. I do like that aspect overall.
I still don't know who thought Topic had a 7-foot wingspan. Where did that come from?
That was always a funny report. Yeah, Topic having a 7-foot wingspan was funny. Fisher said Kispert someone to watch moving tonight. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all, honestly. That's kind of why I caveated that, right? Because I think like he's been in trade talks for quite a while now.
Who do you think would be trading for him?
OKC would be great. Orlando could trade for Kispert. That would be great. He says, will Sar shoot a lot of mid ranges next year? I would imagine they'll let him do a decent amount. Just because like he is a good mid range pull up shooter, and
he was 12 for 21 on mid range pull ups this last year. Like his shot looks better off the dribble than it does off the catch. He has one of those ones where when he flows into it off the dribble, it looks cleaner than like he's like perching it way on his right shoulder off the catch when he's trying to line up from 3. Like something where more lower half development, like physically, will probably help him with that. But he looks significantly more comfortable when he can get into a move. My whole thing with Sarr is I think his offense is always better when he catches the ball in the moves, because that's when you give Sarr like any of those flips, just let him push in transition, he becomes a monster, because he is too tall for everyone smaller than him, and everyone who can even come close to like 3 inches to him in height, he's just faster than them.
All right, now I have no idea what's going to happen with Houston.
My money's on Reed.
Yeah, Reed would make a lot of sense. What if it's just Klingon?
How does he fit with Şengün?
He doesn't, but I feel like the reports are like, I feel like the reports have always been like the Rockets don't like Şengün as much as Rockets fans may.
I don't even like Şengün that much, but I'm like, he still seems like a pretty good 5.
I certainly would not be keen to like move off of him. I think, yeah, I don't know. I think Sarr could not Sarr. I mean, it wouldn't shock me if they're just like, we think he's the best player. I wouldn't agree with it for certainly, but it just wouldn't make a lot of sense to me fit wise there.
They could so use just like a springy rim protecting 4 somewhere.
Alex Sarr.
Well, one pick
they were so close. They were so close. Yeah, Udoka not liking Şengün isn't that surprising. Yeah, that does definitely kind of feel that way. Like he doesn't. It seems like there were times where like he wasn't as prioritized necessarily as you'd expect someone with his kind of production to be. But yeah, it's probably not going to be Klingon. I think Reed is a good bet. I guess Modest could be, but I feel like that's probably not going to happen. Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know what's going to happen. I'm very intrigued to see what happens.
I'm thinking about the Rockets now, and I don't think any draft like 1, 2, 3, the fit's ever been better than how it turned out with Paolo, Chet, and Jabari. I think all went to the exact right teams. Like Paolo should have been the guy in Orlando, the on-ball creator. Chet like being the perfect key to OKC's 5 out. Jabari not having to deal with like on-ball creator pressure again, do the stuff he's good at. Like that one was I was still like anti-Bari.
It seems like it is Reed Shepherd at 3. Okay.
Yeah.
Again, chalkish. I don't hate it. I really don't.
At 3, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think I definitely got higher in Reed throughout the process. I think I'll give this like a B+, A-. I feel like it's not. I don't like love it, but I think it makes a lot of sense that you have this like really nice connective off-ball piece next to all your guys who are great on the ball. And I think, though I do worry about Reed's defense, the level of like athletes they have in terms of their core. Mark says, what do you think about him and Fred VanVleet together? I think good makes sense right now, but also like not my favorite. I mean, I guess I don't know how much VanVleet is in their long-term plans, but I think because Reed is such a good off-ball player and Fred is definitely a good off-ball player, but is so comfortable in those like high spread pick and rolls that they can definitely exist together. So I do like that fit. Defensively, I do think there's some worries, even though Fred is still a good defender. But yeah, I'll give this a B+, honestly. I think B+ is fair. Again, I like it. I think it's good. Not like jumping up and down about it.
The Rockets lineup I want to see next year is Amen Thompson, Reed Shepherd, Tari Eason, Cam Whitmore, Jabari Smith at the 5, just like unleash chaos. I think that'd be a fun lineup.
So Frank Mason, former NBA point guard, just tweeted, played this young guy in France this past season. No way he's the number 1 pick in the NBA draft, but I guess. Oh no, man. No, Frank. Don't be mean. I've never seen a player come out and be like, I don't know about that. Oh my god. I know that ain't Frank Mason talking. That's crazy.
You know, as much as draft Twitter hates Zachary Risache, apparently the 2 people can't be topped are Frank Mason and Modest Buzelis. Like
that's crazy. Dude, Modest wanting to 1v1 wanting to 1v1 him is so funny. I really do wish that happened. I mean, it makes sense that it wouldn't just because of, you know,
Yeah, Modest and they're two very
Modest
different
is a
players,
fucking dog, though.
I was gonna say Modest and KJ Simpson have both. Those two are the two that come to mind as the guys who share one of my favorite characteristics, which is that they're clinically insane in a good way. Like I remember, you remember some of KJ's highlights where KJ like tries to dunk on people randomly. Like he's
Yes, I do.
I do like a guy who's like on the edge of not okay, like mentally while they're playing basketball. So I appreciate that about both of them.
I need my prospects to be a little sick in the head. But yeah, wow. So first 3 picks, chalk-ish, I would say.
Charizard.
Chalk-ish. I don't think anything that surprising. I think this first pick is like, I don't know if there's any pick that the Spurs can make that I'd be like, duh, yeah. How many times have you heard let's 1v1 for number 1 overall? Never. And it's awesome. Like, that's why Modest is great, because you need that level of confidence to be a guy in the league.
It does set the precedent, though, of just like I could challenge Zachary Ricochet to 1v1, and if I win, does that mean I have the right to it? So
I've seen you hoop. I think you could get a rebound over him, at least a couple.
Well, if I just have to get one stop, and then I'm gonna find.
If it's a 1v1 offensive glass game, I'm taking you over like 90% of the prospects in this class. Yeah, Spurs clinging would be interesting. I definitely wouldn't mind that at all. I think it like Wemby kind of gives you the flexibility to pair literally whoever the hell you want with him as your other big or 4 or center or whatever. Yeah, I wouldn't hate that. I don't know how you think of clinging to the Spurs.
That wouldn't be my pick. It is a fascinating thought experiment, though, which I would appreciate that part about it.
Yeah,
that's a pick I would like more at 8 than 4. Where 8, it's like, oh, let's just get that this guy fell to 8, and we think he's better than that. Like, why not?
Yeah. I mean, the Spurs is the Spurs going all in on being enormous. Like, it does feel like the way the league is kind of going, anyways, right? So like, it's like, let's draft all of the players who could theoretically deal with Wemby. Let's just draft Clingan and Edie.
Clingan at 4, Khalil Ware at 8.
Yeah. Yeah, Reed to Houston, I'm really intrigued, very intrigued by that fit long term.
They're talking about Reed's vertical on ESPN right now. It looks like, do people know how like what's the thing with the standing reach wingspan and the vertical, where like if you have short arms, it will kind of boost that.
Yeah, his standing reach cheating that Reed even acknowledged. He was like, yeah.
Yeah, I know, because I have a tiny wingspan, and I know like my vertical looks way more impressive than my standing reach does.
Right.
My standing reach sucks.
As someone who, I am the inverse. I am tall with a long wingspan and cannot, and I have Joe Ingles vert. I definitely know what it looks like. Yeah, Penix and Ricochet for Atlanta is tough. I know that's your boy, Dan. So I don't mean to shit on your boy, but
as a huge college football fan, like I liked Michael Penix. I also remember texting you guys. That was during the Sixers Heat game, I believe, and I sent to the chat in all caps, "The Falcons did what?" Like I did not think that was gonna happen.
Dan, can you dunk? You can't dunk, right? No way.
Oh no, never. My hands are small, my arms are short. Like, and I'm 5'11". Like I
want to dunk at some point in my life. I think that's I think that's a goal. I would like to dunk a regulation basketball at some point in my life.
I'm a good finisher, but I can't dunk.
Yeah,
they're calling me to Nikola Topic at the gym.
Got the touch, but yeah, Mark, got the touch, but it's not. I don't know. I think if I train for it, maybe, but I'd like to see what I can do, honestly. But
my brother got all the height on that one, so he's the one who does all the dunks.
Wow. Apparently, Woj says Castle at 4.
I thought Castle made some sense.
I don't know.
Again, that's one I would have liked better at 8.
Did Woj say that on TV, or is he tweeting it? Because I don't see him.
Shams tweeted it too.
Oh, did Shams tweet Castle as well?
It's Castle.
Okay, wow. Yeah, my instant thought is,
Okay, he will get to play point guard like he wants. I don't know how it's going to go. if they can convince him to do inverted ball screens with Wemby, that'll look really nice. I would like Castle better at 8. I see how Castle works there. 4 is just a little rich.
All right, Dan, we have another guest coming. I really appreciate you coming on and giving us your time, Dan. Feel free to tell the people where they can find your stuff, what you have plans. Floor is yours to plug your shit.
Just at Dan_Olinger on Twitter. Read what I write Ricky Sanchez. Any pods I do there, any videos I do there. That's about all. But yeah, thanks for having me on, Ben.
Of course, Dan. And if you're around, maybe later I'll have you back on the stream if you're not doing anything. But thank you so much. Awesome. Huge thank you. Huge thank you to Dan for coming on. We're gonna have another guest on very shortly to talk about Atlanta's pick. Castle, yeah. I don't love that. I can't lie. I think it makes sense in theory, but like if the plan is to make Castle your long-term point guard, I don't really know about that. I think Castle is definitely, I think San Antonio makes sense in theory. But so yeah, let's get this on the sheet. Castle, I'll strike it through. I'm gonna go with like my instant thoughts like a C. Like it's fine. Like it's B+. Like it's fine. C- maybe. I'll say C. Like it's whatever. Castle 4 better than Reese at 1. Yeah, I guess so. Just because it's not the number 1 pick. Maybe I'm gonna move Castle back to a. I'm gonna move Reese back to a C than a C+. Castle's defense is really good. I think on the ball he's especially great. Really smart. Not sure if Castle's going to be like elite. And 1 second. Welcome, Brad. Thank you so much for joining. Brad Rowland generously at the Hawks facility. He covers the Hawks for Locked on Hawks. And Brad, so first of all, how are you doing, friend? I'm sure it's hectic for you right now.
It is a little bit hectic. I apologize if there's background noise. They would not give me an office to myself to record this with you, but yeah, it's interesting. Reactions are what they are. It kind of, I guess by the end of the process today, the drama was not as big because it was kind of leaking out throughout the day that it was going to be Reese Shea. So not like overwhelmingly surprised, but what was your reaction? I want to know what your reaction was.
Yeah, I feel like it's nothing so different than that we've talked about before, right?
Yeah.
That it's whatever, right? Like not the decision I would have made, but I think Reese Shea is going to be solid. Like he's probably going to be a solid rotation player, and I'm sure the Hawks are going to be doing what they can to win now. I know you're going to be talking to Reese Shea soon. Anything you're excited or intrigued to learn about either him right now or any of the thought process behind this pick or anything there?
Yeah, it's always, I keep my expectations low about like how revelatory a GM is going to be about why they did something. Like it's probably going to be platitudes. You know how this works. He was our guy all along, that kind of stuff. But
sure, yeah.
I do think that I've kind of framed this, and by the way, I had the same reaction as you. Like this is not what I would have done, but it's also a draft where I can't get as worked up as I might in other drafts about like a guy that I didn't want to take at number 1. And I do understand the appeal, especially just the fact that, the archetype around the league, I think even is beloved right now, that 6'9" guy who can shoot and defend. People have already started talking about Mikal Bridges and what he went for and all those things. And that's obviously a bridge too far for me to jump to, but I at least get the theory of the value. As far as like what I want to know, well, this is the first like major decision that this front office has made since they took over. Like this is it. The Hawks have been like pretty comically inactive the last year and a half since the DeJounte Murray trade. So like, what does it tell you about what they're trying to build? And on one hand, it's like kind of boring in a good way. Like, two-way wing is a pretty safe archetype, even if it's not a huge upside thing. But like, what are they looking for? What did they see? What sort of screamed to them? Because I'm sure they're talking about the shooting. They value shooting a lot. I know Quinn Snyder does. But beyond that, what do they make of the defense? Do they think he can be more of an on-ball player than I do, for example? Like that's an area that I'm a little bit worried about if I'm them, but I'm sure they probably are not necessarily. So I want to know what they kind of envision for him, and of course, I'd love to know what they're thinking about the guard spots and Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, and what that. They won't answer that, I'm sure, but it's one of those things where I would love to know how he fits in.
what do you think about Reese's shares? Not necessarily his fit with the roster, but how he kind of impacts and is impacted by the other major pieces. Obviously Trey, but also we had people asking about Jalen Johnson or like Onyeka or Kobe Buffkin long term. Like, do you think Reese's share has significant like interplay with those guys, or is it like Reese's share's success or failure is going to be like independent of the other players?
I think there's always interplay. Like, without them talking, I'm assuming they view their forward tandem of the future as Reese Shea and Jalen Johnson. So they're inevitably tied together. They're married to Jalen Johnson. He's probably the most untouchable guy on the roster right now. At least until this moment, when they draft number one and take a guy, maybe he goes ahead of him. But it's one of those things where clearly they're tied together. And I think I'm probably higher on Trae Young these days than the consensus, because the consensus seems to be like really low, and I don't really understand why. But without derailing it, I think that he is the kind of guy that can make other guys look better on offense. Usually that's associated with bigs, and that's true, but also wings. I think the Hawks are able to do a little bit more with their wings that are maybe more limited on the ball, because they have the ability to have this super high usage, productive point guard who's also maybe the best passer that's not six. Not the best small guard passer in the league, I would say. So
for sure, yeah.
When you have that guy, the on-ball questions are a little bit less. They still matter as a secondary guy, but if you're keeping your number one option, that becomes a little bit less of a concern.
Do you think they're going to trade DeJounte or Trey? I guess, but like.
Yeah, I think it's more likely to be DeJounte that they move. I think that they could keep both. I don't think they want to, but I think that if they don't have an offer that they like, they're willing to, if that makes sense.
Okay.
That's kind of what happened back in February too. Like, they got close on DeJounte deals in February, and they just ultimately said, this isn't enough for us. We're going to hold on. They might do that again. I don't know if that's what they're looking to do, but I think they're ready to move on from one of them. I think, honestly, just what I said about Trey's rep in the league, I don't think that they have the package that they want if they wanted to trade someone like Trey. So they're gonna. I think they're gonna kind of be pushed into that one more. Like,
it would be difficult to get fair value for a guy like Trey, but I think, oh my God,
Detroit. I just saw that. Yeah.
Oh my God, let's go Detroit. Wow.
I love Ron Holland. I love Ron Holland. Not to derail you, I love Ron Holland. I did not see that one coming, given his shooting questions and that in Detroit. But hey, Detroit, they don't care about shooting at all. They never do.
Let's go, man. That's awesome. Hey, they got Fred Vincent now. Oh my
That's
goodness.
True. Sign me up.
That's awesome, man. I am very happy. Oh my goodness. Wow.
I love it. Good for Ron. I'm glad he didn't fall. I know you and I talked about that on my show at one point, like, kind of not understanding why he was falling so much.
It's like, we talked about Ron as like a trade down option.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Guess not.
I do wonder, as you said, HB Robo in the chat, implications for Asar, implications for other prospects on the roster. My guess is that the Pistons are going to trade at least one or more of the prospects. But man, that's I mean, like, to me, Ron is the best player in this draft. Like, I have zero complaints, even if the fit isn't like perfect. I'm not going to complain ever, pretty much, about a team as bad as the Pistons. And I think, to me, the most important thing is, like, he's a great fit with Cade. I think Ron has never played with a passer like Cade. Like, he played with, like, Anthony Black in high school. But, like, no disrespect to him. He's not Cade Cunningham. So I think –
Agreed.
I was talking about this with Ku Khalil, who covers the Pistons, a little bit earlier, and he was like, the one fit that matters, Cade. Cade is the one that matters. And I think that is – a super clean fit. I'm so happy for Ron. Oh my goodness.
I was good luck on that one to bring some Ron Holland fire here. But yeah, more excited than the Hawks pick. As funny as that is, number 5 is more exciting than number 1. But alas, it happens.
Yeah, it does happen. I feel like this is a pick like mainstream people are going to be like, why did they take this Ron Holland kid? And all of us are like, let's go. They got the best player.
That will definitely happen.
But yeah, I absolutely love that pick. Brad, before I let you go, any other any other storylines, picks, players you're really intrigued by the rest of the night? A specific team, what they do, a specific player, where they end up landing. I feel like Ron was one of the big ones for us.
That was one for me. Yeah. I love Reed. This is not breaking news. I love Reed in Houston. That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I love reading on Ben Thompson in particular together is a lot of fun. And yeah, I mean, I'm looking for the guys that are going to fall. Collier, the guys that I think have high upside that might fall a while. Saloon is interesting to me. Wherever he happens to land, could be OKC or whatever. But yeah, the guys that I think are volatile in a good way in this class, I'm always looking to, and that sort of was headlined by Holland, but there's a bunch of those guys.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. Well, Brad, don't want to take any more of your time. I know you're busy and have plenty of journalism and interviewing things to do, but thank you so much for your time. Please tell the people, where they can find you, anything you have planned. The floor is yours to say whatever you like.
No, I appreciate it. And again, apologies for the sound quality on this. I am the host of Locked On Hawks, as Ben said, where I usually beg him to come on a couple times a year, talk about prospects.
Yeah, this is a nice role reversal.
Yeah, it's nice. I also write at Diamond Up Rocks is the main non-Hawks thing. I'm doing grades. In fact, I have to go grade the last 4 picks for Dime as soon as we stop talking. But
they've got me. Sportskeeda got me doing like a second round mock the second this ends, which is gonna be interesting.
That will be a task for you to do. Yes, that'll be fun.
That is gonna be a task, but I'm glad they don't have me doing like any. Brad, I have had Brad. Someone said, ask Brad if you know Beckham Brown.
That rings familiar to me, but I don't know.
Someone who's a friend of ours who's in chat. Grizzlies traded up to 6. Oh my goodness. Wait, is this
okay.
It?
I don't know. I'm on my phone, so I'm limited in what I can see. So you have to fill me in.
Anyways, enjoy the rest of the draft, Brad. We'll be in touch. Thank you so much again for coming on.
Thanks, Ben. Enjoy. I look forward to watching this back when it's all over.
Absolutely. See ya.
See ya.
Huge thank you to Brad for coming on. That was great. Okay, so we can talk about some of the picks that we haven't really chatted about. So Castle to the Spurs. I mean, I just don't love the value, right? Like, it's good. Okay, so is this Memphis Klingon thing real or not? Can we figure that out? I'm trying to, but yeah, Castle, I don't know. I worry about his ability to play on the ball. He's a great cutter, great off-ball player, gonna work better. I don't think Ron is a complete non-shooter. I think he's a pretty solid shooting prospect. And I also think Asar is not a hopeless shooter either. But that's the bet I would absolutely take. I'm refreshing. Did Wojciechowski tweet this? Because I'm not seeing it. Or did they say it on TV? Or is it because can someone like link or maybe because I can't see. But if so, Fisher said it. Okay, well, I'll probably believe that. So I'll change that once we get a Woj or a Shams, just to be absolutely sure. But so Castle, I understand. I just think there are quite a few other players I would have had ahead of him there, not just in terms of fit, but in terms of value. I'm a little worried about that. As for the Pistons pick, I feel like there's like no chance that they don't trade some of their prospects. That's kind of the mindset that I think they have and the mindset that I'm trying to adopt here. Like, the Pistons are still bad enough to where, I don't know. I'm sure Langdon views the roster differently than Weaver and them did. But I don't know. Yeah, like the Spurs only, like, Vassell is the only like real shooter in that core, like aside from Wemby, who's probably gonna be fine. I do worry about that. Could Ron develop into a Jaylen Brown type shooter? I'm not gonna say it's likely, but I think it's possible. He probably won't be that good, but like as prospects, they were pretty similar shooters. I think Ron's rapid kind of shooting improvement. I'm going to really quickly run to the bathroom. I'll be back in like a minute. Let me just make this big so people don't think that I'm gone. I'll be right back, friends. Okay, we're back. What happens? Solo? Oh, man. That's... Wow. Yeah, okay, so Solo at 6. A little bit rich for me, even though I am a Solo guy, I will say. I had him higher than Castle and Reese's share, but I think they're similar. No, I'm not doing that. I think this is another like C minus type pick. Like, I don't absolutely hate it. I just I don't know, Beckham. But Tijon Solo, yeah. Holland Consolation Prize. I don't know, man. I think Solo is like I don't know. They're very different players, but yeah, I don't love that fit for Solo either. I think having LaMelo and Miller is gonna make his life easier on offense. That I do think is true. I think this is gonna be another like C minus. I'll give Castle a C plus. I don't like hate it. We got a C minus too. Like I don't hate the Solo pick. I don't know. Yeah. No, this is Charlotte's pick. Memphis didn't end up actually trading, I believe. But yeah. Memphis is Edie team. What do you think? That would be bad to me. I'm not going to give the Hawks an F minus. It's not that horrible. See, this is why, no offense to Jake Fisher, but I was waiting until the Woj or the Sham tweet because I don't want to be wrong here. But yeah, Mark Will having a job, that doesn't surprise me. Mark Williams is good. Solo, man, good for him. That's awesome. I really do like Salon. Like I remember the first time watching him like a couple years ago at like Adidas Euro Camp, being like, wow, this guy is like, he's pretty tall, has some good feel, can move, like definitely gonna be keeping an eye on him. And now he ends up going really high. I don't know. The more that I think about it, I kind of don't hate Solo there. Peckham, you're going through it. I think Risa Share is a better prospect than Hunter. I did not like prospect Hunter. I had DeAndre Hunter at like 20 in that draft. I did give the Hawks an F- in that draft, but that was just because they traded up for Hunter. Like that was egregious. Quentin Post, the Grizzlies. Quentin Post is absolutely going to be a Grizzlies UDFA. That is locked in. Quentin Post is such Quentin Post is such a Grizzly. So yeah, Ron, I'm optimistic about the pick just because of how much I like. Am I surprised the Grizzlies didn't take Klingon? Did the Grizzlies make a pick yet? Or am I surprised they didn't trade up for him? Maybe a little bit, but not really. I also wouldn't have wanted them to trade up. Okay, so Sham says Portland takes Klingon. Klingon off the board. Good pick. No complaints there, honestly. I don't think it's like the most amazing pick in the world, but overall, like makes a lot of sense. Portland needs that defensive anchor type, right? And I think Klingon can be that. I think 7, like Klingon and Ayton is not a great fit, Mark, but I feel like Ayton is probably not someone who I would really be interested in their long-term plans. I don't really know how they feel about Ayton. I think there were like obviously Ayton had a better second half of the year, but I feel like they're not so attached to him. So I don't know. I'm not going to give this an A+. I'm going to walk back the SAR pick, the SAR A+. I'm just giving it an A. I'm disagreeing with Dan. And I think I'm going to also walk back the Ron A+. I was just really excited about it. But I do think it's more of an A pick than an A+ pick. But overall, yeah, I like it. It's a little weird. I'll give it a B+. I don't think it's like a home run, superstar, incredible pick. Yeah, I love Wap Reith. I adore Wap. Oh my goodness. Whatever happens with Time Lord, I'm sure they're pricing in Time Lord's injury stuff. Just because like as good as Rob has been when he's healthy, it's not necessarily like you can bank on that, I would say. But overall, I think Klingon makes sense. I think the fact that Klingon was going to go 1, right, and now that he goes 7 is just so much better of a fit and a value. Let's look at the ones we have left. So my best available, I have 4 of my 5 tier 2s: Collier, Topic, Dillingham, Buzelis. Misi, where Dylan Jones is not going to get drafted today, but I'm keeping him there. McCain, Devin Carter. These are my top guys available. And now San Antonio has another really interesting decision. Yeah, I do like the Klingon pick. I think it makes sense. I don't have a ton to say about it, both positively or negatively. It's good. It's solid. It is as expected that he fell here. But as expected. But any Spurs predictions? What do we think about? I think people. What's the earliest grade Dylan can get drafted on an A grade for you? I don't know, probably like 20, 18, 19. I think people are going to be surprised by Solo. I'm not saying he's going to be amazing, but I do think that people are going to be surprised. I think he's going to be better than people think, especially on defense right out of the gate. I've been on the record saying about how much I like his defense right now. Offense is super raw, but I have faith. At least I have more faith than most people in Solo. Like, again, don't think it's like amazing or that he's going to be good, or that he's like guaranteed to be good. But I do overall. I do overall. Yeah, I think Devin Carter here feels likely. That's definitely possible. Yeah, I think Solo is kind of like people are like, oh, raw French wing, when like that is true to an extent, but I think he's like a lot better in ways that people kind of just like don't realize, or at least that's my perception. But yeah, I don't know. Like I just think for Solo, as someone who like legit was good on defense, like in a legit pro league and has good feel, like the skill and like the driving stuff and the scoring, super raw, super raw. Jumper needs work, but like the baseline is there, especially considering that he was effective at a young age. I think there's plenty of risk baked into this Solo pick. But like it's not like horrible. I, I think people are going to be surprised by him. I won't keep repeating. Let's see what happens next. They haven't hired a coach yet. No. Repeat it one more time for fun. We can go replay the Solo take. But I'm very, very, very curious to see what happens here. We don't have a pick yet. No. Modest to the Spurs could be cool. I would honestly like Modest. I think that would be just like good value here as well. And also an interesting fit as well. Marcus, did they call him clinging to Marcus Sol? That's fucking hilarious. That is really funny. That's terrible. That's really bad. That is really, really bad. Yeah, no, I don't think Klingon is going to be close to the level of scorer or playmaker or mobile defender that Marc Gasol was. I think that is extremely lofty, unless you're just like underrating the hell out of Marc Gasol, which I think people generally understand how good clean DMing. Oh yeah, someone on Twitter. Yeah, no, I do not like the Marc Gasol comp at all. That's a very Yeah, the Spurs are taking their sweet time and nothing has been leaked. So I am quite interested to see who they pick here. But oh my wait, whoa. Sham says Spurs selecting Rob at 8 could be on the move to Minnesota. Yo, that would be fucking awesome. Okay, Rob with the ships. Wow. Oh my goodness. No way. Okay, wait. So I'll put it in an 8. Let's see if we switch the if we're gonna be are we gonna be switching the team here? Because the grade will definitely depend on what the trade details end up looking like. But wow, Minnesota. Wait, I'm gonna turn the TV. I'm gonna turn. Okay. Can we please? Okay, so he's just saying Spurs. Yeah, I mean, if it is San Antonio, that's an A+ pick. Like, so assuming this sticks for now, which I think for now, yeah, I don't know what Minnesota trades. Probably just future assets, or maybe like one of their guys like Leonard Miller or Minot. I'm gonna pencil this in as my favorite pick of the draft so far. I'm gonna change Ron to an A-. I do love Ron, but maybe I should be a little worried about the shooting. I do love. This is my favorite pick of the draft. Absolutely. Wait, confirmed Woj trade. Wait. Minnesota. Wow, it is Minnesota. Oh my goodness. So I'm gonna tentatively swap this, but let's take the grade away because I do need to see what they gave up before I make it. I mean, fit wise, this is just perfect. Like, I think it would be hard to think of a better player in this draft to send to Minnesota. That's crazy. Robin Ant, yeah. Sack and talks for Kuzma and Cam Johnson at 13. Interesting. Yeah, that's the most aura backcourt. Yeah, Robin Ant is insanely cool. Maybe Conley reroute? Like, that's fascinating. I don't know. I doubt it's going to be. There's zero chance they traded Jaden or Naz. I would be stunned if they traded Jaden or Naz. Like, there's no way they did that, right? Like, after this season, I feel like there's no way they did that. I would be stunned. But we need to see the deets. Dude, what if this is a cat trade? What if this is a Towns trade? Oh, Memphis taking Edie. Oh no. So this is a pick that many draft Twitter people are going to love. I have Zach Edey quite low. And don't like this pick. I'm not going to give this an F, but I will give it a D-. I just think taking a player that I don't know. No. I don't like this. There are lots of pro Edey arguments, his dominance translating, the touch, all of that stuff, but I do not believe in. No, I'm not going to give it an F just because, like, I acknowledge, like, it does make sense fit wise. But wait, Woj tweeted the package. Wait, let me see. Let's see. 20. Okay, wait. Okay, they're setting 2031 picks. Wow, that's crazy. That's it. Damn. Okay, we'll keep the A+. Love it. Love it. I don't even know. 2031. I just cannot be bothered to worry about 2031 picks. But that's crazy. Wow. Wow. Oh my goodness. I don't think I wouldn't expect Edie to be better than Steven Adams. I know that's an unpopular opinion, but I think it's possible, but I don't think I wouldn't bet on it. Should I make it a D minus, D minus? I don't know. I'll keep it at D minus for now, but I may change it in the future if I feel. And I expect to have some guests on here who are going, yeah, we're all going to be a prime of nuclear. Exactly. We're all going to be consumed by the heat death of the planet by 2031. So I'm not really. Yeah, I don't mind the trade for the Spurs at all. I don't hate it at all. I basically always pro trading down and out to get future assets. So I think it's good honestly, I think it's good for both teams. Modest to the Jazz, that would be awesome. Yeah, I'm mostly out on Edie for his defense and my concerns about his scaling down on offense, meaning what kind of happens when he doesn't have all of the touches. And I feel like people are kind of treating it as a formality that he's just going to be like an all-time godly post scorer, when I think that's possible that he's great. I'm skeptical that it translates as smoothly as some people think. Just because of how even though he is going to be the biggest guy in the league, still the difference in athletes is still just so massive. And I really do worry about when the playoffs come around, and I guess having Jaren Jackson next to them makes Mini kept 27. I think Edie's going to be okay in drop. I agree with that. I just think it's very limited. And I also think value of screening, offensive rebounding, for a top 10 pick just doesn't move me. I get that it's important, but for a guy, I don't know. There's so many prospects that I like more, and so many prospects that I think would have, I don't know about fit better, but just be better. So yeah, that's definitely my Jaws quickness work against Edie's slowness. Probably. I think Jaws going to set him good screens. I'm not surprised even a little bit that Memphis is the Edie team here. Not even a little surprised. Jackson Hoy still in Memphis? I do believe Jackson Hoy is still in Memphis. Liking Camilla but hating Edie is fascinating to me. Hey, as you have said, Mark, the W is a different game. I also really don't believe in Edie's passing like that either. But I am fascinated to see what happens regardless. And I very good chance that I'm not right about Edie and he ends up being great. I certainly acknowledge that. Cody to the Jazz? Yes, we got details on the yes, I know, Mark. We got details on the Rob trade. It was 2020, 2030 and 2031 first. So wait, let me check Woj. Okay, yeah, Cody at 10. Don't like this. So I have Cody at 21. A lot of my top guys still on the board. I think of any team, I understand Utah doing this. I think Utah as a talent stacker, just stacking that talent makes sense. And I think if there's any spot that I like in the top 10-ish picks for Cody, I think it's Utah. And I trust Will Hardy to get the most out of it. But yeah, Modest to the Thunder would be awesome. That would be so good. I think I'm going to give this pick a C. I think flat C is probably fair. I don't hate I don't hate this pick. It's not my favorite pick in the world. Um um, I do think Edie is a. I do think of any pi- yeah, I think taking Cody here is better than taking Solo at 6, personally. I think Chicago taking Collier or Topic would be the best thing. Modest would also be good. Those 3 would be my those 3 would be my yeah. Yeah, Carter OKC would be great. Yeah, I definitely don't hate the Cody Williams pick. I don't know. Maybe I'll move fucking Edie up to a D. I don't know. The fit is really good. I think that like they have the players to insulate him, but I don't know. I struggle to see the value here. So yeah, I'm gonna keep it as a D. He's traded for Giddy. I mean, Topic is just like better. I don't think it would be that weird. I think Topic's main thing is that he is like a rim pressure god, and Giddy can never get any rim pressure. Um, Modest to the Bulls, yeah, nice. That's fun. Really fun. Love that. Love that. Muted. All right, we're fixing that. But yeah, the Chicago native, it's cool. I like this a lot, honestly. I really do like this. I think Chicago needs someone with his level of like driving upside and scoring creation stuff. Um, I really do like that. So I'm gonna give this an A. I don't know if exactly A. I'm also gonna move Rob down to an A because they did have to trade up for him. But I do think Modest like makes. I'm worried a little bit about the spacing there. Like I don't love the spacing concerns that they're building in Chicago is a little worrisome. And I honestly might actually move this down to like a B plus just because I think one of the initial I don't know, A minus is probably fine. But yeah, I like it. I think Modest makes a lot of sense. Bronny James. Yeah, sure. When last did you give AK an A? I don't know, never, probably. I hated the Dalen Terry pick. I thought Pat Will was good, but a reach. Did they pick anyone in? No, they didn't pick anyone last year, right? But yeah, the spacing stuff for Modest is IO grade. I don't really do second round grades generally, but I liked it. I thought it was solid. I mean, it's hard for me to really have any like hard feelings about like hating second round picks. Like I don't know, they're second round picks, right? But I liked IO. Oh right, yeah. I did not like Phillips personally. Or I thought Phillips at 7 was like, or not Phillips. Phillips in the second was like fine. Like it seemed like a fine like wing athlete swing. But yeah, some major. I'm actually going to bump this Cody Williams pick down to a C-. And I might bump this Solo pick down to a. Now that we think about it and like see more of these like picks, I'm moving Solo down to a D. Like I like Solo, but like I don't know, like seeing who they took in terms of like they could have waited, they could have gotten someone else, could have traded down. I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, Phillips is like a yeah. I think Phillips is like a fine guy overall, but the Bulls haven't had a. This is probably my. Yeah. So who is OKC taking? I can't wait. I have been on the record thinking that the but yeah, who is next, man? Who is going to be next? Why are they showing Michael Jordan highlights? Why are they showing Michael Jordan highlights right now? I guess because it's the Bulls. I am spacing out. I don't really even know what to think right now. So OKC, I think Khalil Ware. But yeah, I think Khalil Ware would make a lot of sense just profile wise. Yeah, I think like I said, I think the fit for Edie is fine. I just like the value is I don't know. I am always a BPA guy. But yeah, just my extreme general focus on BPA. Like I don't think Edie is like the piece that moves Memphis, like moves their needle closer to a title. And for that, I'm like, I don't get it. But I know a lot of people like Edie much more than I do. And it is going to be, like I said, fascinating to see. He's one. I mean, I'm so fascinated to see how his career turns out. Like, I cannot wait. I really can't wait to see how. When does the? Yeah, I'm surprised Connect is falling. I'm not mad. I'm not mad about it. Like, rather Memphis. Yeah, I would prefer all of those three to Edie Beckham. Personally. So yeah, my best available, we have Collier and Topic, who are probably not going to go yet. Misi, Ware, Dylan Jones, McCain, Carter, Duran, Flip, Dadia, Bub, Tyler Smith. Misi to OKC would be cool. I agree. I think any of the bigs left, I would really like for OKC, honestly. I think all of those guys would make sense, but we still don't have an OKC pick, do we? I wonder if Buzelis can bench 200 pounds. Hopefully he will be able to. Yeah, I wouldn't hate Topic for OKC if they just don't love anyone here, right? They think maybe there's no one here who we think is really moving the needle. Might as well get someone who might not fit right this second. Excuse me. Might not fit right this second, but is going to. I feel like the Kings aren't going to draft a guard after paying Monk. Or at least I would be kind of surprised if they did. New notification. But yeah, a Fox Devin Carter backcourt would be really, really nice, honestly. I would like that a lot personally. Just in terms of like, yeah, OKC is, I was going to say, I really hope OKC takes one of the guys that like I mentioned in my piece on their front office. But obviously, oh my God, they did take Topic. Wow. I kind of like that, honestly. I really can't hate that. Yeah, no, Woj says Topic. Okay. Value-wise, you know what? I like this. I do. I like it. How much do we like it now? I think Topic is probably the best or second best player on the board to me. They don't need him to contribute right away, and they're probably going to be better off. Doing, but yeah, wow. Of course, Topic takes someone that I didn't even fucking put in my piece. That's so annoying. But I think I like this, man. I think it's good overall. Let me. Yeah, this is a good pick. I have no real. I think Topic could be a good off-ball player in the future. I think he flashed good off-ball stuff in his short EuroLeague time, which I do really like there. And I think the fact that he is so great as a driver and is smart, I believe in his ability. I'm going to give this like an A- again. Like, I'm not like so in love with it, but it is a really good pick. It's like I like it. I do like it. Yeah, Topic's wingspan, like it's not that it's not long, it's just like negative relative to his height. We don't think it's probably like more worrying, right? It's not like he does it like he has like a 5-foot wingspan. It's just that he's but wow. I like that. I like Topic. Overall, good pick. No complaints. I am setting up for our next couple guests, which we will have on shortly. That is exciting. So I think Topic's ability to make skip passes is going to be really valuable for OKC. That was one of their kind of big issues in the playoffs, especially, right? Just like not being able to flip the court and not having enough plus passers on the roster. So the more that I think about it, it makes sense just by like adding playmaking makes a lot of sense here. Like they really do need like these extra passers. And I think it's really good. And like I said, I like the process of going for, screw it. I'm giving this an A. Giving it an A. I like this a lot. I think it makes a lot of sense. So I feel like the Topic Giddy comp is really popular, but like I don't really think they're that similar aside from just being tall and like can pass. Giddy was a way better passer, but Topic's scoring is just totally different to me. But I mean I understand like the thinking there. Who would I grab for the Bucks? Best defender available. Mogbo would be really cool. Ryan Dunn could be cool. Bub to the Wizards at 14. A little high for me. I would not like them passing on Collier personally, but yeah, I think Topic is maybe the hardest prospect to compare to in this entire draft for me. Like, I legitimately just have no clue what to think about, like, how to. I honestly don't hate my. I was thinking about Topic comps, and my favorite one that I came up with was Fox. Just that Fox is like a guy who builds the entirety of his game off of rim pressure. Fox is definitely different than Topic, right? More of like a floater guy, more explosive, not as good of a passer at the same stage, but Topic is a better passer than Fox was, and arguably a better 3-point shooter. But I think there are some similarities there in terms of their pathways to becoming stars. Just totally dominant rim pressure and creating off of that overall. So I do like this, honestly. But yeah, so right now we have Sacramento. This could be Deron Holmes. This would not shock me at all to be Deron Holmes. Not one bit. And I think that'd be good. Sack looking to trade. Yeah, that wouldn't Jokic, Topic trio, absolutely that. There's a guy named who played on Topic's team, a guy named Filip Jovic too. So we have another Jovic. Who I don't necessarily know if he's like a prospect or whatever, but it's another Vich. Oh wow, Sacramento does take Carter. Okay, yeah, interesting. Interesting. Very interesting. I'm definitely a little lower on Carter than some others, but I think it makes a lot of sense for like a guy who's going to impact now. I still don't think this really solves their like glaring forward defense issues, but I guess they can trade for that, right? I'm going to give this like a B, I think, at the moment. I don't adore it. I don't hate it. I am a slightly bit lower on Carter. But overall, I do understand the thinking there. And Carter's defense, even though it's not necessarily defense at like a role they really need, I'm a little lower on Carter. One, because I'm just a little worried about his offense, like the 1 year shooting leap. And I think I have some worries about his creation and like the level of playmaking he gets to. If he is just like a crazy shooter, he'll be fine in an off-ball role. But I do have some worries about like how good of an offensive player he can actually be. Though I do think that it makes sense here. What are we pouring on Reed Shepherd? Yeah, B for Devin Carter. I like it. Nothing crazy, but not my favorite pick in the whole world. Yeah, I think Carter's going to fit well. I want like everyone says that Carter's like a monster athlete, and while I agree he's good, I don't know. Maybe I'm just wrong about maybe I'm just wrong about like him as an athlete, but I don't particularly love like I don't know, at least from the tape that I've seen, his functional athleticism for scoring and creation seems to be a little overrated. Yeah, Mark, that's always a worry. I'm like, also just like remembering what Derek White was as a prospect, I don't think Carter's that level. Yeah, I think Collier in Miami would be amazing. I mocked that a bunch. Bronny at 15 would be hilarious. Would Jordan Walsh go in the first in this draft? I can see it. I think he'd probably be in a similar range, though. I mean, he was good, but always flawed in ways that I think. I'm gonna give the modest pick an A. I really like it. I love the modest pick, man. Modest is gonna be so good, like in Chicago, if he can kind of get over the Chicago thing. Yeah, I'm also surprised Connect has gone this low. Like, I don't personally like Connect like that, but supposedly the league loved Connect, right? So I am kind of surprised, that Connect isn't like a hotter commodity than he seems to be. Very much agree that. I'm surprised. I'm just tweeting out the stream again. Let's tweet this stream out. Goes without saying, but thank you everyone who's watching. This has been a great turnout. I appreciate everyone sticking through. Like, we're almost halfway through the draft and we still have 126 people. That's awesome. Love all that. I think Connect at 19 would be fine. Like, that would be a fine spot for him. But I don't love Connect. Yeah, I think Connect did. Yeah, I'm surprised as well. Like I said, I would have expected Connect to go higher personally. But we'll see. We shall see. Am I streaming the whole first round? Yes, I will be streaming the whole first round as well as 30, 40 minutes after, and then I'm going to be streaming the whole second round. I will be on the whole time. Which might be I don't know. Is this Bub? Is this Bub? Thank you, Alec. I appreciate it. I don't know about this. I'm a little skeptical. I'm a little skeptical of Bub, especially with Collier on the board. Like, I'll say like B-. I get the process though of going for like, actually, no, C+ maybe. I get the process of going for this like high upside creator. I don't know. Thank you, Serendipity. I appreciate this. Hoping to be low key, and obviously we're doing serious analysis. At least that's the goal, but trying to keep it fun. Like, this is the draft is awesome. We're having fun. Yeah, I do like Bub actually in Washington. Beckham, I can't answer that question, but I agree with the sentiment. But I'm not going to say anything about that. But yeah. Yeah, people are really high on Bub, but like I'm a little lower on him just generally. I do think he has a long way to go, and there is sneaky downside just because of his physicality limitations and the defense. I wish they would have gone for someone with kind of more like Bub's a fine, like a good passer, but I think okay, so I'm trying not to do this thing where I give terrible grades because they pass on a guy I really like. Well, like in a vacuum, if Collier doesn't exist, I probably like this more than I do if Collier exists. If that makes sense. So I don't want to like get too into that. But I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, Bub's like his like steal and block rate stuff is like historically concerning. I'm not like so worried about that just because I think he's a better defender on tape than the stats show. But I don't know. I'll give it a B-. I don't like absolutely. I like it more than I like the Castle pick, I guess. So, I'll say that. Even though this is like a bit of a reach to me, but I do like the pick overall. I understand with the like I said, there's some real red flags with Bub. Like just even like beyond the statistical analysis, it's clear on tape to me that the physical development is just really behind. And that's obviously not like a huge problem for a Washington team that's going to take a lot of time, but yeah, I don't love it. Should be having our next guest joining us any moment. The Heat are just absolutely no. So what the Heat are going to do is take someone who I think is terrible, and they're going to end up being great because that's what always happens. I just know that. Wait, did Shams delete the Bub tweet? Is this not real? Okay, wait, no. Okay, no. Bub seems real. Okay, yeah, it just showed on the TV. Okay, cool. I don't hate Bub. Like I said, I'm trying not to grade these picks based on who they passed too much. But like I said, I think Carrington is just a little rich for me. A little rich. Cool. Yeah, who are they? The Heat are going to take someone. I'm just going to like preemptively bump up my Heat grade like a letter because I know how this is going to go. I just know how this is going to go. I've had my I've had my Jaime F in there, like quote tweeted by angry Heat fans enough to be like, it's just not worth it. Like, I'm just not going to give anyone an F. I don't care enough to do that. Setting up my I was very wrong about Jaime. I should have just stuck to him because like I love Jaime as a player. I just didn't think he was going to be good, and I still think the pick is maybe a little overrated just because of his age. But like, yeah. The Heat are just going to take like I don't know. They're going to take like Cam Spencer. Whoever the team, yes, they are definitely gonna do that. Absolutely. Our next guest should be joining us any moment now. I also think the Heat are like the only, like one of the teams that. Man, hold on a second. Hello, Ricky. How's it going?
What's going on, bro?
Welcome, Ricky O'Donnell. SB Nation covers the Bulls. Bulls pick. We've talked about it. We like it. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I want to go back and listen to your analysis. I'm excited to hear that. But, I was really worried the Bulls were going to do something crazy with this pick. I have been terrified all day. They're going to take Terrence Shannon Jr., who apparently had a very good workout for them. So I'm totally fine with Buzelis. I think that that's a very sensible pick. My one issue with Buzelis is I don't really think it works offensively if he can't shoot it. And honestly, you can say that about most players in the NBA today. It's How do you feel about Buzelis' athletic tools? I'm interested in your take on his explosion because people always say he's such an explosive player. To me, I think he's a pretty creative driver at times, but I don't really view him as explosive. So how do you feel?
I don't really view him as. I think some of his explosion things come from the fact that he will like do cool dunks in the open court, which is what it is. But I definitely think that, like you said, I think of him as more like smooth and creative as explosive, and I do really like his driving. Like he gets super low on his angles. He's great using like creative footwork and handle to get by guys. I really do think with it, like I hate to say it's just like he'll be good if he adds strength, but I think him as much as any player in this draft will depend on if they can become functionally strong, then I think he's going to be a damn good player on both ends. But I do agree, like I like it for the Bulls because they, from a vacuum, it's like, okay, we have no direction. Let's just get talent. But assuming like the shooting concerns are not even just with Modest, but on the whole roster. So your thoughts on the Buzelis pick, overall positive? Anything that you're excited? Anything that you're particularly excited to see or hear or learn about in the coming days about the process or Buzelis or what they generally were thinking with this pick?
I'm going to go the other way here, but one thing I'm excited about is like the Bulls have just not had wings. And if they could keep Patrick Williams, who suffered a really like bizarre injury at the end of last year, and like we haven't got a lot of health updates on him. He's also a restricted free agent. I like Pat. I mean, I think that he's been done a disservice by just sort of carrying the fan or the franchise's hopes and dreams on his shoulders because he's the only talented young guy on the team. So you kind of want more out of him. But in a scenario where DeRozan's not returning, I think it's kind of cool to have Pat, Will, and Buzelis on the wings. I think their games complement each other pretty well. I don't think that they're guaranteed to be Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum by any means. But I think it's a pretty nice young wing pairing.
Yeah,
that Pat's kind of a power player, and
a lot of people are really young. Like, but like I said, I lean positive overall. Good for the Bulls to get a nice pick. I see Khalil Ware is going to Miami. Thoughts on that, Ricky?
Oh, nice. I love Khalil Ware. I know you're a big Ware guy too, Ben. I covered the McDonald's game in 2022, watching the practices. And when I was there, I thought the three best players at McDonald's week were Brandon Miller, Jarris Walker, and Khalil Ware. And Khalil Ware in that setting was matched up with Derek Lively. And I thought there was no doubt Ware was the more talented player.
Yeah, Lively was Lively was not that
like a better jumper and he was a better shooter. And I'm like, this guy's the guy. I think everyone sort of knows the book on Ware at this point of like what his shortcomings are. The one thing that kind of pains me about him is like, can you trust him to make the right decision with the ball in his hands? I just don't know if he's a good enough decision maker to like warrant a lot of touches. But if you can make the game easy for him, and again, if he can shoot, I mean, he's so damn big, so damn athletic. I really like that pick for Miami. I think he would have been a good pick for anyone in this range. Honestly.
But I think getting him in that Heat dev system is just like amazing. And I think with him as a credible spacer, like he didn't take as many threes this year, but I think a lot of that is due to the way Indiana wanted to run their offense. And going back to like the small Oregon sample and as well like the high school sample, he was a much more willing shooter. So I think as an upside play, like this is what I wanted the Miami to do last year. And obviously the Hawkeyes was whatever, but like, Hawkeyes turned out how he turned out. But like, this is what I want from them process wise. Like take these swings. Cause like when you have a track record like Miami has over the last 20 years of turning these guys into real players, like take a guy like Ware who has this crazy rim protection upside. He's so quick off the floor. He's long. He's got good timing. He's a crazy post scorer. Like
you think he can play with Bam? Long term, let's say 3 years from now.
I think if he's shooting, then yes. Just because of how much of an alien Bam is. I think Bam is one of those special bigs that provides some pretty awesome flexibility with who your other big is. Like we were talking about that. We were talking about this with Wemby earlier when we were speculating if they were going to do a Klingon thing where it's like you can make anything work because of Wemby, and obviously not to the extent of Wemby, but I think you can make a lot work because Bam can guard for us. He can guard the perimeter. He can play higher and drop when Ware maybe can't. And then I think Bam, we've seen maybe has some higher level rim protection limitations because of his just size stuff that Ware could be able to cover. So I think long term makes sense to me, honestly.
Yeah, and like Bam is such a versatile defender that like he can be your wing stopper in addition to like your drop coverage defensive guy. So yeah, I think the other thing is like if Jaquez is going to be like one of their main offensive focal points in a post Jimmy world, I think that you definitely need to open the floor for him and get like some spacing to let him get into like his mid-range attacking bag. So I like that from a fit perspective too, in the sense that like I think his game complements Jaquez as well. If they really view Jaquez as going to be one of the focal points of the team moving forward,
Absolutely.
which we'll see if he has that type of upside. But
HB Robo says, is there anything to the idea that Miami culture can make the most out of perceived low motor guys? I don't think it's as much as like the Heat culture thing, just that like they have a very proven track record of developing young toolsy players. Like think about where Bam was at Kentucky, not even in terms of like motor, but just the skill level, the defense, the feel level, the movement skills, all that's so much better in the league. Not as much that like there's like toughness Heat culture. It's just that we have so much evidence of this Miami organization under Spoelstra and Riley and these guys being able to turn players into the best versions of themselves that I think it is genuine to the point where I'm like, yeah, I'm willing to bet. Like, obviously I think most of it we think of it with role players. Your Caleb Martin, your Duncan, Strus, Vincent, everyone. But even like I said with Bam, and I think Hero is also a good example who like wasn't a lock to be a really good player. But I think because he landed in a spot like Miami, he improved a lot.
Yeah, I like it. And I'm going to let you go, Ben, with this. I'm so old that I once saw Bam Adebayo play on the same AAU team in person with Dennis Smith Jr. And that was a fun Under Armour event. I think Josh Jackson was playing in that too. So it's just been cool to see these guys develop over a long term. And like you said, Bam didn't really look like this player at Kentucky. But once he got on a different context in the NBA.
I'm giving this an A+. This is my favorite pick of the draft. Fuck it. I love this.
Khalil Ware.
I love this, man. Awesome. Cool. Thank you so much, Ricky. Feel free to plug any work or anything you're doing. The floor is yours.
I'm at SBNation.com, but Ben's the best. Love your analysis, bro. Excited for your 2025.
You're the best too, Ricky. Thank you so much.
Today too, so I'm going to see how close ours is to each other. I'm excited to see that. But everyone, I know you're getting good draft analysis from Ben. So
thank you so much. Make sure to follow Ricky's content. Enjoy the rest of your night, bud. All right, we're going to be hopping right with our next guest. That's going to be on for a little longer. Wait, is Philly taking Collier? No way. Is Philly taking Collier? I saw Gribinov. I thought wait. I saw my guy Mike Gribb tweet that, but dude, someone said does Daryl Morey follow me on Twitter? No, not to my knowledge. I don't think Daryl Morey follows me on Twitter. Like I can check right now. No, he doesn't. I'll follow him right now and see if Daryl Morey gives me the follow back. Do we have a confirmation on this Collier pick? Like, is this 100%? Because I don't see a Shams or a Woj tweet. Mike tweet. I do believe I get that consulting back. It's a good life, honestly. I would love to get that consulting back if I could. I'm so ready to say Philly did it again, but so yeah, let's just wait until this pick clears. But again, thank you all for being here. I'm getting ready for our next guest. I'm gonna tweet this stream out one more time because I'm gonna keep doing this. just to remind, if you all haven't liked the stream, commented, I think just liking this stream and subscribing are the main things. Would really appreciate it. Okay, McCain. Do we get blue ball? Yeah, okay. I still like that. Like, I still like McCain. I've mentioned this as a Philly pick quite a bit. I'm not mad at McCain at all. That's kind of this, like, come on, Grib. Come on, Grib. I love Grib now, but yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, I mean, I like that fit. Awesome vibes. I think offensively with Maxey, it makes a ton of sense. I definitely preferred McCain to connect by a lot. I mean, I know the consensus doesn't, but I think it's like a B+ type pick. Like, B. I think I like it as much as I like the Carter pick. I don't know, because I like McCain. Yeah, I'll leave it as a B for now. I think McCain is like quite good as an off-ball shooter. I do have some defense concerns with McCain and Maxey. Maxey definitely made strides, and I don't hate McCain's defense. I think he honestly is a pretty solid defensive player for his size. It's hard having two small point guards in the backcourt defensively, but offensively, thank you for being here, Mark. Appreciate you. But yeah, I like it. I think at the moment I would just I think McCain could make sense as a good like sixth man. The Sixers, as we talked about with our buddy Dan Ollinger earlier, basically have no picks, or like not no picks. They basically have I should stop being a coward and just give this like an A- or a B+. I do love McCain, man. Like, I'm so happy for him. I love Jared McCain. Ugh, I love this. That's so awesome. That's so awesome. I'm just happy about that, man. That one just makes me. Changing the Bub pick to C+ again. I'm gonna keep changing. See, I love doing the grades based on. I love doing the grades like this rather than tweeting them because I can edit these. I can just like edit these because like when we think about it more. But oh man, that offense is gonna be awesome. Like such a dynamic backcourt. What happens to the Lakers guy? The Lakers drafted Jalen Hood-Schifino last year, who was a project. So I don't necessarily. I think people like. I didn't like the Jalen Hood-Schifino pick personally, but I think people are too harsh on it because it was always a project pick, right? Like they weren't picking JHS to contribute day one or year one, but overall, I didn't love it, but I think people are giving it too much shit just because, like, I think the Lakers front office is like worth the benefit of the doubt at this point to me. Like the Lakers are really good at drafting. Yeah, not great for his injury stuff. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I want to make it clear that I was not a fan of the. Yeah, and I think it is like. What were the chances that every single pick after JHS was just like home run? Like, I don't know. Like, as I'm saying, I do agree that the Lakers made the wrong pick, but it's whatever. And hopefully Heat fans like my grading of their pick this year. I don't want to comping the McCain. Okay. Strictly on the basis of a vibes comp, McCain and Halliburton is great. I love that. I think McCain and Halliburton is a good vibes comp. But yeah, I mean, dynamic shooter. I think the Sixers with Nick Nurse's new focus on like DHO flip offense, getting Joel in the high post, using him as more of a passer, is going to fit so well with the motion that they do. And I think McCain is a sneaky good driver and passer himself, where he can really get downhill. Like I said, he can really, really get downhill. Like, he's strong as hell. I think it's underrated. And I think it makes sense overall. But who do we have next? We have I am very intrigued to see who the Lakers take here. Like, this could be 2.8 million followers. Yeah, dude, McCain is a big deal. I mean, it's just like, I mean, he's been like a social media kid, and obviously Duke stuff. I love him, honestly. Okay, the Lakers are taking Connect. I like this. And we are about to... Yo, what's up, Ahmed? How's it going?
How you doing, man?
Good. Welcome. This is
Dude.
Ahmed.
Not good, actually. Not good.
Ahmed is a Hawks fan. Ahmed at Slip the Screen. He is one of the many awesome writers at the Swish Theory. They've been putting out amazing content this week. Would highly recommend you go check them out. But Ahmed, aside from, your Hawks, how's it going? How you doing tonight?
Yeah, good, man. It's been entertaining. This draft, what the draft lacks in talent definitely makes up for in the entertainment factor. So that's been cool.
We have wanted.
Yeah, it's been.
We prayed for a fun draft, and a fun draft it has been. But we just got this Dalton Connect to LA pick. What do you think about this one?
I mean, it's pretty plug and play role. It's not necessarily like the most creative pick, but you don't really expect that as much from the Lakers. They're pretty
right,
set,
exactly.
Obviously with LeBron and AD, and I think I don't even necessarily think they lack so much for shooting, but you can never have enough of it, I guess. So.
Yeah, exactly. And I was definitely lower on Connect than most people, but I think this is a good spot for him. Mm-hmm. I think the idea of going in the top 10 to me was always like, but going to a team like the Lakers that's trying to win titles right now, Connect is going to have a defined offensive role. I think he's going to make sense as like a secondary attacker, transition guy. He's going to get easier shots than he got at Tennessee. That's for sure. I'm curious about what the fit ends up looking like with Austin Reeves as well, because there might be a little skill set overlap there, though I think Reeves probably more like passer creator-y type. But I don't know. I like this pick.
I
like it. It's fine. I don't have any. I think people are gonna absolutely love it just because like he was projected in the top 10 and it's the Lakers, so people are gonna be like, this is the greatest pick of all time. I'll give it like a B minus. Nothing crazy. Like it's all right. Like I don't hate it. I probably would have preferred them to take like I think Duran would have been so cool in LA.
Can you say that? Oh, Duran, yeah, that would have been ideal. And I mean, he's fine with playing the 5. I know that AD is kind of like somewhat averse to that, although he played a lot in 5 last year. I don't know. I just think like, obviously I don't want to say interchangeable, but just the front court synergy between him and AD would have been really nice to see.
Yeah,
and
agreed.
I don't know. I'm excited. Like all the teams remaining are, competent franchises. So I'm just kind of excited to see where Duran. I feel like a lot of guys, you and I are both pretty high on left on the board.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Collier's still there. Misi, I love Duran. Flip, I like. Tyler Smith, I think is going to be good in this range. Fisher says Tristan De Silva to the Magic. We're going to wait because De Silva has not because Fisher has had an unfortunately rough night tonight in terms of his scoops. So I'm going to wait a little bit.
Has he missed more than just he missed the Kalel pick Kello Ware
Yeah.
pick. But outside of that, it seems more.
I think there was another one that he missed earlier. I don't remember. The chat was definitely talking about it earlier. There was some other one that he missed, but I don't think. I do believe he has. Anyways, I don't know if I'd love De Silva to Orlando, but anyways, let's talk a little bit about, just to get this out of the way. If you had to make the most positive argument you could make about the Reese Share pick, let's do. Oh yeah, Fisher leaked the like the Memphis trading up to Klingon wrong. But anyways, if there's
that's not great.
Your most positive, optimistic Reese Share pick outcome, let's imagine how is this going to go well?
Trevor Ariza had a really long career. Guys, I think most of the guys in Reese Shea's mold, because I genuinely don't see any creation avenues. Like I don't see a lot of creation equity, which is like a lot of my concern with, I understand it's a weaker class, but it's the number one pick. Like you got to take some of the swing on it, especially the Hawks aren't in a position where they have like anything cemented despite like, being a fringe playoff team. And you don't know where Trey, I'm like waiting with bated breath for Trey for that trade request to be asked. And obviously DeJounte's situation with the team is up in the air. Like you don't necessarily know where you are going to be in 2-3 years. So I would have liked them to take a little bit more of a swing. There were some weird, rumors, not rumors that it was substantiated. Alex Sarr just didn't want to come to Atlanta. But even outside of that, I think there were guys that they could have. But the question was, what's the upside? What's the optimism?
Right. Exactly. This is kind of all the stuff I talked about. Like, I think we were talking about this with Brad Rowland earlier, right? That it's just like feels like a very low upside, safe pick. Maybe a Hunter replacement long term or a Sadiq Bey replacement, but that's not the most like enticing things. Looks like Tristan De Silva to Orlando is legit. Ahmed, what do you think about TDS to Orlando?
Not a fan.
Yeah, me neither.
Not a fan really at all. I think compared
What's your pitch on being a little lower than De Silva? Because I am as well, but let's get your thoughts on this pick.
I mean, I think especially with the Magic, I feel like the pick is made with the understanding like, we're going to get some shooting. Like we're going to get some spacing. We're going to get some versatile spacing. And I think De Silva is a good shooter for his position, for the role he'd presumably play, but I don't think this is necessarily like a gravitational shooter that the Magic like desperately need, I think. Because I mean, this is I think teams like the Magic and I think Oklahoma City is like really bit like how proactive they've been kind of like compared to the Magic. I think they need to have the understanding that they're young, but with the new CBA rules, like the window is going to be like, it's not going to be as large as you think with like, as far as contention goes. You need to really capitalize on, Franz, your year or two remaining left, he'll be on like a cheaper deal. And obviously Paolo before he gets his extension. I don't see De Silva really being like a playoff caliber shooter where he's like drawing hard closeouts and able to create off of that. And I'm really genuinely like pessimistic on front court players that don't do front court player things like that you need. Like there's not a lot of like supplemental rim protection and there's just not a lot of defensive value. He's just not a physical player or a particularly explosive one. Like I think career he had 26% free throw rate.
Yeah, this season it was 26% free throw rate,
not the biggest
one. 1.7% block rate, 13.7% defensive rebounding rate, all average to below average. Yeah, I don't love it. I think what you said about the front court players not being able to do front court stuff is a big thing that to me makes De Silva like kind of a straight wing. That like I don't think he has the physicality to really play on the inside. And unlike most Magic guys they pick in this one, like he doesn't have a plus wingspan. He's not a plus events creator on defense. He's a very smart defender, right? Like he's well positioned. He's a good team defender. He sits in gaps. He makes good plays. And he is like a quite good shooter. I maybe am a little like higher on the shooting than you are. And like he can pass and dribble. Like I understand why they did it. And I think if any team was going to take De Silva this high, I get it being Orlando. But I think there are just other players I would have preferred for this, right? Like Tyler Smith, people are mentioning. Like even I think Jacoby Walter, who I'm also low on, I probably would have preferred. Like this
I'm not the biggest Jacoby Walter guy, but I think for this specific fit, I really would have liked that. I really like would have enjoyed.
Yeah, I felt the same way.
I think that would have been a good addition.
We generally finish. We generally feel similarly about, and it is kind of disappointing that they got one pick away from Connect, because I'm sure they would have just taken Connect if he fell. But that is unfortunate for them. But yeah, I feel like this is like a C minus, D plus type pick. I'm not going to give it a D just because I think like with the team, the Magic's defense is good enough to where I think they can probably insulate some of his weaknesses, and the shooting is really important. But it's just not very, like, it's just kind of bleh. Like, it's not like it's a disaster pick that I absolutely despise, but it's just like kind of uninspired, right? It's not the most exciting pick. I think there are more dynamic options available that move the needle closer. Absolutely. We're on the same page here. I'm very curious about who the Raptors pick here. There's a lot of potential cool options here for Toronto.
You have to sprint the card up for Isaiah Collier, right? Like you have to.
Oh, God.
It's a position of need. I don't think IQ is a point guard.
No, I think IQ is best as like a 2 off, and I think Quickly, like in Collier, make a lot of sense together, right? Quickly's best is like a quick hit motion, like secondary passer, float game, pull ups, and Collier is best with like downhill. I think both of us are probably pretty high on his playmaking. So I believe we're having some Wi-Fi issues with Ahmed that we're going to try to fix as soon as we can. But like we were saying, Collier would be amazing here. Collier would be cool. Who else would be cool here? Yeah, I wouldn't hate Jacoby Walter here, honestly. Like, I think, again, I like the shooting ability there. I don't love. Okay, wait. Shams said. Wait, did Shams just tweet this out? Yep. It is Jacoby Walter. Okay. I don't hate that by any means. But I probably would have preferred other guys. I don't hate it. Yeah, Russell, good call. You've clearly got your sources there. But yeah, I think it's fine. Maybe a little redundant with the Grady pick. Yeah, I don't know. Just feels like there are a lot of better ways they could have gone in terms of yeah, I think Ahmed is having some, like we said, having some issues with his Wi-Fi that he's going to try to to deal with. But regardless, we're happy that we are happy that he was here for as long as he was here, and we appreciate his analysis and his insight. But yeah, Walter, I don't know. Like, I think Orlando would have been a lot better for Jacoby. I'm gonna again give this like a C. I don't know. It's fine. Like, I think Jacoby can be a fine player. He's a nice shooter. They do need shooting. That is true. I would have preferred other shooters is the thing, right? Walter is an incredibly good movement shooter. He's dynamic off the dribble, really good like sprinting off of motion, different directions and stuff. And then I think his defense is a work in progress, but the Raptors have been good at developing these guys. Is there a big wing left for the Caps? Yes, actually. Dadia, Tyler Smith, and Tyson might be my 3 single favorite Cavs fits. Aside from Duran too. Duran would be amazing. But that would be freaking awesome, man. I'm not gonna tweet this, but I would recommend that people go look at Kristen Peak's tweet. Kristen Peak's Zach Edey tweet. Ahmed, welcome back. Hopefully Wi-Fi good.
Good to go from here. Yeah.
Good. But yeah, Magic Jacoby Waltz, or not Magic, Raptors Jacoby Waltz. We were just talking about him as a maybe Magic pick, but what do we think about for the the Raptors?
Fit with the Raptors. I think it's solid. I mean, like I said, it's a very like narrow application, like very narrow usage for Jacoby. And I mean, it's useful. You get a versatile shooter. I don't usually put much stock in the combine, but something with Jacoby, he measured a lot bigger than I thought he would.
His wingspan is huge. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like legitimately, I think was just a tick under 6 or might have been 6'6" in shoes, which I was pretty impressed by, and weighed about, because I thought he was real thin. I thought he was going to be like in that Cody, almost like Rob weight range, like where he was like 170 or something, but he was almost 200 pounds.
He put on weight.
Yeah, but I think there could be some potential for defense. I think he's pretty smart. It's just the lateral quickness is a little lacking. But yeah, I think.
Yeah, it's just like, again, it's just kind of like it's not amazing. Like I don't hate it, but it just feels like there were more interesting options, like Misi or Tyler Smith. Even I probably would have preferred. Obviously, Collier. We have talked about plenty.
Yeah, at this point, I'm wondering if there was some intel issues or something along that.
I don't know, because like it just doesn't make it, like, I don't know. It really just doesn't make any sense. Collier falling this far, like even like acknowledging the issues he has, which both of us are definitely higher on Collier than most people, but overall, like. He's so talented, and especially for a team like Toronto that like is still in their rebuild, needs a downhill point guard. Like I don't know, but I guess we can yell about Collier. Someone said as a Raptor fan, did we just draft KCP? I think KCP is like an optimistic outcome for Walter. I don't know how you feel about that. I think that would be like a good outcome.
Yeah, I think our friend Joe Hulbert had mentioned like Gary Trent Jr. as a potential comparison. I like something I like, because I wrote a little bit about Jacoby. I think current current version or just like slightly diminished Jordan Clarkson is someone that I like, but somewhat similar comparison. But yeah, Jacoby's it's solid. But a lot of guys, I think both of us are high on remaining on the board, like Duran, Tyler. I'm pretty surprised Flip is still on the board.
Yeah, Flip being on the board is interesting. I mean, I think this is going to be his range. At least I would probably guess. Interesting that supposedly Collier only working out with 3 teams is interesting. I don't know. Like maybe there is intel stuff that neither of us know. But I just like, it seems he's too talented to. Okay, Woj says Cleveland taking Jalen Tyson. That's literally like the most obvious makes sense pick of this whole draft, I think. I talked about this plenty, like that of Tyson being maybe like the number 1 guy I would want in Cleveland. I really, really like this. What are your thoughts overall on Tyson and the pick here? I know you're definitely a little low on his defense, but
yeah. I think it's solid. I mean, if there's any like core that you would have put like a kind of like defensively lacking player, it's going to be Cleveland, and it like dribble pass shoot wing. I think
Right.
like he was in a really tough situation in Cal. Like there was a lot of like creation burden placed on his shoulders, and he acquitted himself pretty well. I think so. There's definitely playing in that kind of situation. Yeah, it should be.
Absolutely. I think. Oh my God, Misi to the Pelicans.
I love that. I
Oh,
love that
that's
so
fucking
much.
amazing. Okay,
That
we're
is
gonna talk about Misi in a second. I do want to finish talking about Collier, not
Mhm.
Collier, Tyson. I definitely agree with you that I think his defensive issues are pretty significant, but his tools are great. He was in a super, super, super high usage role, and I think Cleveland has, like you said, has the infrastructure to insulate him a little bit. But Tyson is a gifted offensive player, like legit wing pull-up shooter, can get by guys with burst, with strength. He doesn't always love to pass, but he can. Like his vision and some of his live dribble deliveries are really impressive. I really like this. It's not like I think this is like a B plus, A minus type pick to me. Like
Mhm.
I don't think it's like a crazy value or anything, but like the fit and like the archetype is just so perfect. But talk about a pick that I do think is an A plus. Eve Misi to the Pelicans. As y'all can see, I have Misi 8th on my board. I think of the like the Mike Gribb draft Twitter consensus board, I think I was the highest person on Misi, which maybe I'm a little bullish on his upside because I do acknowledge that there are real flaws with his game. But New
Mhm.
Orleans, for a team that desperately need rim protection, yes, absolutely. This is amazing. I love it. I love this.
Yeah, and I mean, he's in a situation where he's not going to be like demanded too much early on, and like you said, rim protection. And I kind of love the idea of a vertical spacer with Zion, like the downhill threats they already have, and like kind of like the complementary like passing. I thought CJ was incredible last year, obviously, and I mean, I think the collective playmaking on that roster is kind of underrated. Like I thought Herb, like off the balance, like showed me a lot last year that I wasn't really like aware of being in this game. And I think just kind of like that's kind of like an easy onboarding process for me. So yeah, I'm actually significantly lower than Missy than you, but with this landing spot, I think this is like about as ideal as it could be.
Yeah, I think like regardless of how you land on Edie, I obviously am like I'm giving it an A plus because I just Misi's my guy and I have him really high and I.
And if there's something, sorry to interrupt, but another thing about Missy that I do think needs to get mentioned is he got significantly better over the course of the season.
Absolutely.
Like, it was night and day difference from early on in the year compared to late in conference play. And just a ridiculous, if there's a guy that I'd also improve to kind of, or expect to improve and, outperform expectations, definitely Missy.
Yeah. I think that just like having the Zion rim pressure is going to really work. I think like the concept, like obviously you would have liked to have a spacer at the 5, but those guys are hard to come by. And like we kind of saw what that looked like. Like the Pelicans the last couple of years have gone with smaller 5s, more offensive oriented 5s. Like Valanciunas was taking 3s and it really wasn't working. Like their issues were really exposed, especially against these high octane pick and roll attacks, guarding quick players, coverage versatilities. The Pelicans like design their defense around not letting teams get to the rim. Aggressive gap help, Herb Jones, super early rotation, because they knew that once players got to the rim, they didn't have shot blockers. So I think this pick is, even though there's definitely a chance this doesn't work, I think this is the right gamble to take because if AC does end up hitting, I think he's a legitimate defensive game changer. And I think there's sneaky offensive upside given some of the ball handling stuff he's shown. I don't think he's gonna ever be a shooter. Like his touch is and he's just like doesn't ever shoot. But and his feel is definitely questionable. But I don't think it's like horrific, but it's not great. He is, a project, and I don't think he's a lock or anything to be great. But yeah. For me, this is the gamble that I like them taking. I also didn't like. I would have maybe I like it. Anyways, but Phoenix taking Collier.
I love it. Like I like it a lot. And I mean, they needed a point guard. They needed rim pressure badly, like direly. They needed rim pressure. I'm not necessarily now. This is where I get kind of worried about things. Is like the trajectory the Suns are on versus how slowly you're going to be able to like bring Collier on. Is that could kind of clash a little bit, but ultimately, this is basketball wise. Like in a vacuum, I think it's a great fit.
Yeah, I mean that would be cool. I mean, basically anyone who takes Collier at this point, it's like yes.
Yes, I was going to give a bad review to anyone that took him in the 20s.
Oh yeah, no, Collier is not confirmed. We're just kind of like riffing on this. I do want to track back a little bit because I'm obviously a little bit lower on Edie than some. I know you're not like the highest on Edie ever, but definitely higher than me. So why don't you give us an optimistic case of why this Zach Edie to Memphis thing is gonna work and is gonna end up being good?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I think it's kind of a fool's errand often to just like look for spacing bigs. Like ideally, like, and our buddy Adam Pike had done a lot of work on the kind of concepts that Memphis may be running, like trying to look to more 5-out situation or more of a 5-out system this next season. Obviously, Zach Edey doesn't really, his game doesn't lend himself to doing that. But I just think he's a monster offensive rebounder. I think he unlocks a lot as far as like running him off handoffs and like using like Bane and even Ja, like you kind of just manufacture like easier downhill touches for those guys using that. And then, I mean, the screen setting's been mentioned. Like, obviously, he's a prolific offensive rebounder. And I was definitely like I've seen people that had Edie one, like you were towards the lower end of things, and yeah, I was definitely like riding the fence on that. I just think at a bare minimum, this is like it's almost like a tactical play. Like you can like play Edie, deploy him situationally, and I think you could really like make life difficult for the opposing team. And at a bare minimum, I think it's like a really like kind of nice like curveball to have in the rotation.
I think that's a good way to phrase it, as kind of like a tactical thing where just for me, like with my flaw, I think just like that's not how I personally like would draft or like would review top 10.
And that's fair. That's why I couldn't really get along with
Memphis, right? Stuff. Like for Memphis, I think of any team, it makes sense just because I think they have the infrastructure to cover for his weaknesses. Like for all of the defensive issues I have, there's probably not a better defender in the league than Jaren, or I guess like Wemby, than Jaren to protect some of his mobility issues and as well to space the floor next to him. So I think that's about as good of a front court partner as you can find. Like I said, I think the ceiling is certainly kind of limited there, and I don't know if this is like moving their needle closer to a title per se. I think. But again, maybe it's fair to say that nobody really would have that they could have picked, but maybe they could have gotten someone with the potential to do that. But I do think that it's, I don't want to make it sound that like just because I don't like the pick that it's like the worst pick ever and he's going to be horrible and it's terrible. I'm like, there are plenty of smart people who really like the pick and who like this. And I think maybe more than any player in this draft, I'm just fascinated to see how this turns out, honestly. Like how he ends up being good. I just want to see what happens. Like, I'm very excited to watch him play.
Tyler Smith, another guy I'm kind of surprised has fell as far as he has.
Yeah, I kind of would have expected the league to like Tyler Smith, just given like tall, shooter, young, productive. I think wherever he goes is going to be good. Someone asked, might be a dumb question. No dumb questions. Actually, that's not true. There are dumb questions, but this one's not dumb. What's the difference between a wing and a forward? I generally think of forwards as players with more interior versatility, whether on offense or defense, whereas wings to me are more like offensive perimeter, not offensive, just like guys who are more limited to the perimeter and what they do on both ends. That's just my general designation. But obviously position stuff is, fluid and all that.
Yeah, I would, co-sign that definition.
All right, cool. So okay, it looks like the Messi pick just happened on TV. So we're gonna be waiting for Phoenix pick now. Bronny going next, yeah. So who am I? Let's look at my personal BPA. I have Collier, obviously. Dylan Jones is not gonna go this high. Like I know that. Duran, I wonder what the Duran landing spot is because there was obviously so much smoke about him getting a promise somewhere. Heard Denver. I think we heard like people talk about OKC. He talks about LA. Talks about Sacramento. What do you think about where where Duran is going to land, or where you think he might go, and where you think might be good, good landing spots for him.
I think definitely the Denver landing spot is that's my favorite fit for Duran. But out of the I mean, New York, they already have so much front court depth. I guess.
I mean, maybe if they're going to trade, Mitrov, if they're not going to re-sign Hartenstein, would make sense to get.
I like that fit a lot, honestly. I like New York. Maybe, yeah, that's definitely my second favorite fit out of the group. And I mean, Duran is just his game lends itself to kind of just fitting along with it's very malleable. He's obviously, I think he can play the floor.
Oh my! Speak of the devil, we called that shit. Phoenix trading number 22 to Denver, who takes Deron Holmes.
Wow.
I
mean, good on them picking up some assets.
Yeah,
definitely needed that.
We totally called that. That's awesome. Good stuff. So Denver gets 22. We're gonna assume Phoenix gets 28, but maybe not. I think good business by Phoenix to get more assets for sure. But I think, though I'm generally not a trade up guy, I do think Duran, and as you were kind of saying before, Ahmed, that the Nuggets haven't had a real backup big since when? Have they had a real backup big in the Jokic era?
Not that I can recall, honestly.
Not really, right? So not only do they get
I think the Zeke Naji, I don't know, 10 years kind of been a disaster, but hey.
Yeah. Okay, 28, 56, 2 future seconds. So honestly, a good haul for Phoenix, I think, to move down 6 spots. But I do think that this is a home run pick for the Nuggets. I think Holmes has the ability not only to do some of the DHO shit that Jokic can do, but also probably play next to Jokic in certain lineups, can hold down the fort when Jokic is out. And I think that's the ideal Denver big, right? Is someone who not only can back up Jokic, but maybe has some leeway with playing with him. But I guess Plumlee was there early in the Jokic tenure, but even Plumlee was never that great. But yeah, I think this has been one of their big holes that they've had, and they have not fixed. But this is the guy. I'm not going to give this an A+ because it's a trade up, but I will give it an A because I think it's just this is the best. This is, to me, one of the best team player matches so far in the draft.
Yeah, definitely. And now I think lineup-wise, for as great a fit as it'll be, I wonder how much value there is in the Duran Jokic minutes together, because that's something I'm interested to see the teams kind of lean more into his ball handling in space and kind of the creation that he provides. But regardless of high-end backup big in this range, definitely something.
Right, exactly. And I think even if Duran is just your good backup who can maybe soak up some postseason minutes, play 7 to 10 minutes a game without Jokic, play some with Jokic, that's a win in the 20s. But I think both of us would probably agree that there's more potential than that with Holmes, where if you can build on the ball handling, build on the creation, really get his shooting to be consistent, because he's not an incredible shooter, but I think he can be good enough to the point where he's drawing closeouts and forcing rotations. And if that's the case, then he's going to be deadly. So yeah, I love this. It is a trade up, but they didn't really give up that much, really. 2 late seconds probably, and to move up 6 spots feels pretty reasonable. But like I said, definitely a good move by the Suns. And as you're saying, Russell, yes, I think it's a great development environment too. Just getting to play with Jokic and Aaron Gordon and having a Jamal Murray, getting to learn with these vets, a team that has been to the top and knows what it takes and runs a kind of offense and system that I think Holmes is going to be comfortable with. I think I might have wanted their whoever Jokic is backup. Maybe in an ideal world, it's a more defense first guy, rim protection type. But it's hard to really complain with Holmes, even if it's not the most perfect thing ever. I love it. Great.
Bucks pick's going to be really interesting.
What if we took Mogbo?
I'd love it. I'm extremely extremely high on Bobo. I feel like it would compare to draft Twitter kind of niche, but that'd be great. I probably not. I'm personally for my personal stocks, so I look smart down the line. I hope he falls to Boston, but for Utah, honestly, you always got to look out for yourself in these kind of situations. But yeah, I think that'd be my ideal landing spot for Bobo. But Milwaukee, I just think he's additive to pretty much any of the teams.
Yeah, I think Milwaukee just needs to be drafting like athletic wing forward. So Mogbo, someone mentioned Shannon, Ryan Dunn. Like I don't love Dunn. I think like this would be a good daddy Al like spot long term. Even like it is not going to happen, but Isaiah Crawford would be really cool here. Yeah, I'm very curious. I think there's a fairly clear direction that I feel like the Bucks should go in, given like the slow aging nature of their front court. But who knows? Maybe they go with like another guard complement or.
Yeah, they're really lacking for perimeter defense. I think that was one of the like leading headlines of the Bucks season this past year, which is how much they struggled defensively. It got better when Stock came into the fold, but I still don't think that's like necessarily too much of an indicative sample.
I do think Shannon would make sense in that regard, just because I think he is really like one of his best things is his ability to guard down, like with his lateral quickness and some of the strength he has. Maybe not as good guarding like bigger wings, but the Bucks just cannot guard guards. Like this last year was that's a concession you make when you have Dame, Malik Beasley, like Chris as your top perimeter guys, but they cannot guard guards. And I think getting someone, Shannon could do that. Are there any small guards that like would make sense here? Really that's like projected in this range.
I think AJ Mitchell would it be bad necessarily?
AJ would definitely be interesting. I agree with that.
I think he's, for as much as he played with the ball at UCSB, I mean, you kind of have to playing in that context with that level of talent. But I think he can scale down pretty well next to Dame. And I thought for having pretty low stock numbers, I thought his defense was pretty impressive every time I watched him. Like the screen.
Yeah, no, he's a smart. He's a smart team defender. No, they didn't take Kolek. No way.
Wow. Wait, Kolek's none of those things we just mentioned.
Wait, is this Woj or who is this? Are you just saying Kolek because LMAO because that would be bad or because they take? Because I don't want to react to that prematurely, but yeah, if that is the pick,
Not as much.
Yeah. Okay, he's joking. Thank you for. He said it would just be funny. Yes, that would be funny. But yeah, kind of the opposite of what they need, right? I think they really need perimeter defense. They need athleticism and juice. Like with Dame, like you have, and Chris, like you have your shooting. You have your guys who create space and create separation. I think Dame unlocks, like having a point guard like Dame unlocks so much on offense that you can afford to get guys who aren't as good at shooting necessarily, but with the Bucks like glaring athleticism, I think.
I also just kind of think there's no way they don't go. They've been on a run of wings. I feel like the past like 3 of their past 4 picks have been wings.
Yeah. What? It's like Ajax, Marjon.
Maybe Chris Livingston.
Yeah, Livingston.
I mean,
someone in chat asked, "What do you think about Tyler Smith here?"
I like the fit. I like the pick long term, like with development in mind. But in the immediate future, I think he's pretty far from contributing.
Yeah, I think I like it a lot. Just like in terms of value, but fit wise, I think you could do a lot better. Like, so in this range, I probably wouldn't love it just because I think they're like, I like Tyler a lot, especially in this range. I think we're both pretty in on Tyler's long-term offensive upside, but yeah, overall, I think like it wouldn't be horrible just because I do really like Tyler, and ultimately, I think that's the most important thing. Now, apparently, a Bucks reporter is saying it's AJ Johnson. That is interesting, but no Woj Shams confirmation. That would be interesting. As an AJ Johnson supporter, relatively, that would be interesting.
Yeah, I'm significantly lower on. I feel like I've only mentioned players we've disagreed on so far, but
Not
AJ was
really. We
one
both not really. I mean, we both love Duran, both like Tyler. We talked about De Silva and Walter. I think we agreed on most of these guys, but yeah.
Maybe this is a case of that's just sticking out. But
I mean, look, I have AJ Johnson. Whatever. I have him 57 on my board.
Oh, okay. That's probably.
I like AJ Johnson as like a second round flyer. I think he's an interesting projects, but like, I just like even like. I saw someone mock him to Minnesota at 27, which like would be a big reach, but I don't think would be like the most horrific thing of all time because it makes sense with the timeline they need. But like, okay, so I'm not gonna. I don't want to speculate too much on this until the Bucks are really taking their sweet time with this one thing.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not. I just wasn't aware of after there was so much like moving and shaking going on earlier. That 27th pick. Is Minnesota also taking that, or was that moved to San Antonio?
No, I believe Minnesota still has that pick. They only gave up like the 30, the 2030, 2031 picks, which is hilarious. Wow, it is AJ. People are saying AJ Johnson confirmed. I'm refreshing right now to wait to put it in on my sheet. Yep. Wow. Whew.
That's probably the biggest surprise of the day, honestly.
So just on principle, because of the value in this, I unfortunately have to give this an F. But I do want to, just because like it's obvious, like you're taking a real raw upsidey point guard who's super thin and not that great on offense or defense at this point. I'll make an optimistic-ish case for AJ. He got a lot better in the NBL this year. I think you pointed out in like one of our group chats, and we talked about how like he was pretty underwhelming in high school, but I do think he made real strides in the NBL. I think his defense got better. Like legitimately is very quick in terms of lateral movement, getting around screens. He's super fluid and mobile with the ball, and I think he has a pretty advanced handle for like a 6'6" point guard type, and he's like an okay passer, okay shooter. But yeah, very far away from contributing. I think AJ is – Bucks have Andre Jackson, AJ Green, and AJ Johnson. That's hilarious. I think AJ Johnson –
Because AJ Johnson – yeah, because he was so far out of my line of thinking for the first round. I legitimately was like AJ Green, just running my mind through potential AJ. That was a wild pick.
That is maybe the craziest pick of – yeah, I think that is the wildest pick of the night. Yeah. I don't want to shit on AJ Johnson or
no,
make it just very surprised that he's up here. Honestly, he had a great combine, so maybe that's he was genuinely one of the more impressive guys in the combine scrimmages. And I do think there is some handling advantage creation upside with his handle and the movement skills, but seems like a strange pick given who's on the board and given everything we know about. I don't know. Yeah. I'm going to let you go in a second, Ahmed, so you can enjoy the rest of your night. But before I do, somebody asked your take on Filipowski.
I mean, he's a versatile front court player. I think in my personal board, I had Flip in the lottery, pretty firmly in the lottery. I think it was 11th on my board. I'm surprised he's still remaining as far as teams yet to pick. I like that fit for Washington, honestly. I think adding I think there's a lot of synergy potentially between him and Alex Sarr.
Knicks trading 24 to the Wizards. We'll put that in for now. Don't know who the pick is, but interesting. Yeah, I generally agree with you on Flip though. I think he's definitely undervalued. He's just very, very skilled, versatile. But anyways, Ahmed, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you coming on and giving us some of your time and your insight. Why don't you tell the people about you, what your, where they can find you, what they can wait. If this is the pick we have, Tyshawn George.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, they did just trade away a wing. I guess that's
They know they're going for the, like the was the long-term development path. But I'll talk a little bit about that in a sec. But anyways, Ahmed, tell the people what you're up to these days, where they can find you. Floor is yours.
Yeah, so I'll probably be taking a little break as far as like making content for. I write primarily for Swish, but I'll probably be taking a little break, just gearing up for the 25 cycle. But
I will also be taking a content break as much as I can after this.
But I'll be doing some high school scouting, maybe put something out on Peach Jam in the near future, and then just writing a lot, potentially getting into the video content space moving forward. But just doing a lot of work for Swish Theory. You can follow me at Slip the Screen, and it's a lot of fun, man. Thanks for having me. Yeah,
I think Ahmed's high school content is awesome. I personally just absolutely adore high school basketball. It's so much fun. The AAU stuff has been great. I think you have like one or two pieces out, because you wrote about like Bateman and Crotty, and then
so I haven't written about Crotty yet, but I had two pieces out.
Not yet. Okay, no need to spoiling.
Written about like Chris and a little bit of a sneak preview, but written about. So I'll probably write about some international guys in Peach Jam moving forward, but some guys that have been high risers. I think like pretty much everyone. I think I ran the numbers the other day. The average like ranking increase over guys I've written is like 50 something spots.
He's early. He's there.
Yeah, getting in early, man. But and getting an early preview of the 26 and 27 classes. So
if you're really
fun.
If we're really if you're really grinding on this 26, okay, wow, the Knicks traded down 2 spots and got 51. That's great for them. Damn. All right. Anyways, Ahmed, have a good night. Thank you for hopping on.
Absolutely, man. This was fun. Have a good night.
See ya. Big thank you to Ahmed. That's my guy. I love his content. He's super smart. Would highly recommend checking him out if you haven't. Thanks for so New York updated. I believe we will have one more guest on at some point soon. 3 of the guests who have our Hawks people by accident. That's just like the people who responded to me and were free today. Kaishan George, do not like him. I believe the next guest that we will have is a little higher on Kaishan than me, so I'm interested to get his take. But I'm giving this a D-. I don't know if I'm going to give it an F, just because like I get the direction that they're going in, and it makes sense that they're taking a guy who needs 3 or 4 years of physical development to really be a contributor. But like with Collier on the board, I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't like it. I am going to take a really quick bathroom break. I'm going to write it on this sheet again so people know. Did I strike that? All right, cool. I'll be right back. Awesome. We are back. Quite masterful from the Knicks to do nothing and get a second rounder. That's a great, very good business on the trade downs there. Would be quite happy if I was a Knicks fan, honestly, over the last couple of days. But yeah, best available. Collier. I think I'm quickly going to do a tweet about my best available. But yeah, this Collier thing is brutal. Yeah, the Wizards might have, but yeah, I don't know. I definitely view Keyshawn George lower than the league does. Yeah, maybe Collier bombed interviews or some intel stuff. Like, it just doesn't make sense from a basketball perspective. That this would be this crazy of a slide. Thoughts on the Ware pick? I love it. As you can see on my sheet, it is my one of 2 A+ I gave today. It is an amazing pick. We are about to be joined by our likely last guest of the night. Unless one of my other maybes ends up wanting to hop on, but regardless, we have had some amazing guests today. Appreciate all of their time, and again, all of the guests that have been on today. Would highly recommend you go check out their work and all of the good stuff that they do, because they were very, very, very generous for giving some of their evening. And we are welcome, Ryan. How's it going?
Hey, buddy, how are you?
Dude, I'm doing great. First, how are you feeling? I didn't mean this to happen, but you are the third Hawks person that we've had on here today. That wasn't my intention, but how are we feeling about the, Atlanta?
The pick.
Yeah, I mean it's
I don't know.
It's something.
I think he's gonna be decent. He'll be fine. I just know it was irresponsible, and it's kind of embarrassing the way it went down at pick 1. And like I said, I think he'll be good, and I think he'll supply what the Hawks need in a sense offensively. But it just doesn't make sense for us at all.
Yeah, it's just like seems very myopic. I don't want to, we talked about this like 5 times today, but it just seems like a very narrow thought, like kind of vibe. But I do want to talk about the pick that just happened, which is the Wizards trading up for Keyshawn, because I know you're a big Keyshawn fan.
Yeah,
I'm definitely not as high on Keyshawn. So let's hear, what's your like optimistic Keyshawn George take, and what's your thought of how he's going to end up being really good, or like what this looks like in the NBA if it ends up working? Yeah,
I think, to be fair, like any upside player, like the Wizards, the Jazz, the Raptors, like those are the teams that make sense. So it's good to see him go to the Wizards. I like. Sorry, I was watching TV also. I like his skill set a lot. Super versatile. He's obviously massive. He's got massive size for what really is a 2 guard with really good playmaking skills, because he grew up, as you know, as smaller 1 guard in Switzerland. He can shoot the freaking lights out. I don't think he's like as terrible of an athlete as everybody kind of thinks he is. And I think he's actually a pretty high IQ player, especially defensively. He creates a lot of deflections with those long arms and big frame. I just think he has a really rare, versatile skill set in a ton of different ways that make him very, very unique in terms of prospects. And I think a team like the Wizards can kind of work him out, see if they want to play him as a 1 sometimes, a 2 or 3, even if he can play 4 in some kind of lineup sometimes. So I think there's a lot to like.
Yeah, I'm definitely probably a little lower on the athleticism than you in overall, but I do certainly understand the pitch. I think Keyshawn was an absurd shooter this year, just obviously statistically, but like his ability to pull off of the pick and roll from like way, way deep range. Some of like the secondary passing stuff that he showcased was interesting as well. And I do like his fit in Washington, of anything, right? Like I think Washington seemingly drafting him with an understanding that they're picking Keyshawn, and to a lesser extent, Bub and Sar, that these are guys who are going to take time, who are going to, who maybe aren't the safest player and aren't like the, again, maybe not the safest player, but someone with real upside if they do hit. And I think even if I don't love the prospect, I do really like the process. And I think ultimately that's what's important. Yeah. I think they're doing the right thing. But aside from that, are there any other picks from, say, that like really caught your eye? Either like I love that, or like what the hell was that? So
really There's definitely a few. The AJ Johnson thing threw me for a freaking wrench. I don't hate it, and I see the vision a little bit, but he was going to be there at 33, where they are.
Right.
And they even
That's
said
what I
that.
That's what
So
I was.
that was
That's what I was saying. Like I was saying this, right? Like I relatively have been an AJ Johnson defender. Like I've been telling people like he's not like like he's an intriguing second round guy. But I'm like, yeah. Someone's asking, did players like Keegan and Brandon Miller display more on-ball scoring than Reese Share at the same age? Yeah, I would say absolutely. That's kind of one of because Keegan was like Iowa's high usage creator, and so was Brandon Miller. Even though Miller was a little bit older as a freshman, he was like a high usage creator in EYBL and AAU. So like, I think part of my concern, and I'm sure a concern that you would share about Reese Share, is just that he pretty much has never really like even going back to like the youth tournaments. I remember like the FIBA tournament, one of the same FIBA tournament that SAR really broke out at. Reese Share like really struggled as a creator and a more high usage offense guy. So I think a lot of these guys like we've seen Reese Share in these roles even at lower levels, and it hasn't been that great. But yeah, so that's my general thought on that.
Yeah, I think he ends up his ceiling is MPJ, which is not a bad thing. And I player counts, but that truly is what his ceiling is, that type of role and that level of impact, which is good. And he did that for a championship winning team, but not alone, obviously. Exactly. But yeah, I just don't buy a lot of the tools. I can't believe our boy Isaiah Collier still.
Dude, it's absurd. I can't believe it. I'm upset. Oh my god.
And he's gonna go to the Knicks probably too.
The Knicks just took Dadia.
They did?
Wow.
Dude, what the fuck are they doing? Am I allowed to cuss on here or no? I don't know if I want to.
Yes.
What the fuck are they doing? I get they needed these picks to fill their rotation. They're not going to be able to spend anywhere else. They need to fill the rotation with these guys.
Yeah, this is interesting. I like
Furphy's on the board too.
Who?
Oh my god, Furphy.
I like that. Yeah. Why is this screen sharing? What's wrong with my screen? So yeah, I'm pretty optimistic on Dadia, but I am curious about the Knicks fit here, just because like maybe they're just really confident in their like. Yes, like I had them reasonably high, but they're probably pretty confident in their ability to like get a rotation, and maybe just because they have 25 and 26, their thought process is like take a swingier guy here and then get a more like Baylor Shireman type, or
or Filipowski or something.
Yeah, or a Filipowski. But it's interesting. I feel like I trust the Knicks to develop, at least based on what they've been doing recently. Like it seems like they have a pretty good culture. Like they're good at getting guys to play defense. They're pretty good at getting getting the most. But I do think it's intriguing that they went this direction though.
Yeah, I don't get it. They do have 38 also and tomorrow, so that kind of maybe they try to get like, I don't know, off the top of my head, random like Enrique Freeman or Newton or Shed or someone that just like they know they can throw into the rotation right away. It's old.
Yeah.
I think Daudier's there. Is he right? He's home probably. Yeah.
Yeah. I think this is probably going to be like I think a lot of my thoughts on this pick will depend on what they do with the other ones. Because like it also makes sense to me that Dadia potentially is someone they could stash and don't have to pay, which I'm sure is something that they're going to be valuing. That it's like, even if we like someone, like our rotation is going to be really full, and we might not have anyone playing any, like maybe, even if there are players that we like who could play, maybe they're like, okay, we don't really like anyone here in terms of contributors. So we're just going to take a guy who we think could be good in 3 years and we don't need on the books. So I do get it from that perspective. And I think I'm probably higher on Dadia than you are. So I honestly like this pick, but I can see the downside as well for like, this is the Knicks team that's pushing all of their chips in right now. And speaking of, what were your overall thoughts on the McHale trade?
I'm a college guy first, so I love Nova teams. I love their Nova teams. Hard not to be excited. They gave up so much draft capital, but I guess in the current market and like they wanted him, they were willing to do whatever to make it happen. And obviously the Nets probably bumped it up even more, the asking price, because it was the Knicks, and they were like, no, we need an extra pick and an extra swap out of that shit
Yeah,
too.
it's like we need everything, and they know they're gonna pay for it because they have all his boys. Like,
Right, exactly. But yeah, it's hard not to like it in some capacity. But you are right. It's a good point about Dottie. Like, he could be more of a long-term play where they could try to balance out these 2 picks, and really 3 picks with 38 now.
right. Basically,
But
late first,
like,
early
I just feel like a lot of the guys available, we talked about Collier, Furby, Filipowski, Terrence Shannon, like Baylor Shireman. There's a lot of guys here that they can just take 2 of them, throw them into the rotation right away. And Collier is like 19 also. Like, he's super young too.
Yeah,
It's not like
exactly.
he's old.
Yeah.
But
I certainly
the
would
Collier thing, the Collier thing is clearly an NBA-wide thing, scouts.
Right.
And it happened to G. Jackson last year. It's going to be the same exact shit. So,
Yeah, trust me. We've been talking about that all night. That Collier. Like, is there like interview shit or like quote unquote character crap? Like, I don't know. I haven't heard anything negative, like, personally, and I think most of the on-court issues, as you would, I know you agree with, most of the on-court issues have been pretty much overblown like crazy. Like, not saying that Collier is a perfect prospect or anything. You know, he definitely has weaknesses, like being a smaller guard that's a below the rim player. You know, he's not a great shooter. Defense and turnovers, there's inconsistencies there, but none of this is extreme to keep him out of the top 25. Like, that's crazy. So just speaking of who's available, are there any other sorry, not who's available, any other picks from this draft that either you really loved and you thought was awesome, or you hated, or you thought was just like really intriguing and you're like, I wonder about that?
yeah, I don't need to talk about too much. Connect is just, he shouldn't have gone that low. And at the Lakers, he's going to play a buck ton. He's going to score a buck ton and probably contend for Rookie of the Year. And I love Deron Holmes in Denver. I think whether he's playing with Jokic a little bit because they can both shoot, or he's playing behind him because he plays kind of similarly, it's going to be a seamless fit. And I think most people that know ball at least know Deron. They love Deron Holmes, and especially on like draft Twitter and stuff.
Yeah, it was a cool thing where it's like I feel like the Deron Holmes thing, where like I know, like, draft Twitter as well as like college guys like you who've like been watching him, right, more intensely, like, this dude is awesome. Like, why is nobody paying attention to Deron Holmes or treating him seriously as a prospect? And then late in the process, it's like, okay, a bunch of teams are like, this guy is an ideal modern big. But yeah, I want to dig into the Connect thing a little bit more. You're a huge Connect guy, I know that. What do you see as his ultimate, like, long-term ceiling? Like, what do you think obviously I think he's going to contribute right now, right? We know what he can do as a bucket getter. What are your thoughts on what he could end up being? Oh, and apparently OKC traded for 26. Ooh, this is going to be interesting.
Oh shit! Wait, the Knicks aren't picking at all? Are they serious? They're so dumb. They're so stupid. They're so dumb. Why are they doing this?
Oh my god, did they take Dylan Jones? No, they did not.
Did they actually?
Wait, that's what people are saying in the chat. I need to confirm this. This is literally my.
Oh yeah, they are. Dylan Jones to the Thunder at 26. Love him to the Thunder. Great pick.
Oh my god. This is my favorite player. This is my favorite player in the draft.
I know you love Dylan.
Oh my god. Amazing. Wow.
Yeah, Dalton Connect's good player. I don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, we're talking about, this Dalton Connect, and what do you think his not necessarily like, like how good, like all-star, I don't really care about that, but just like, what does it look like? What is the vision of a high level Dalton Connect look like in the NBA?
I think he's the guy labeled, I forget who asks it every year, but he's my false ceiling guy. I think it was Matt or someone, and I just think he's gotten better every step of the way, from JUCO to NOCO to Tennessee, as the comp has gotten better. And I think the NBA age versus the real age thing he's a really good case for that, because I think he's a false ceiling guy that, if you told me he was an all-star like 1 or 2 times in his career, 100% I would believe that in an absolute heartbeat. And it was the same way with like Buddy Hield coming out of college and guys like that, where they were so old, but they were clearly super talented. And obviously Buddy played for years with Oklahoma, so it was different. But I think Connect has much more upside than people think on the surface level. And there's no way he's not good at the worst. There's no way he's bad. There's not a single chance in hell. So I'm confident there.
Yeah, I totally understand that argument as someone who's lower on him. I get the case. I think the argument about like the argument about the basketball age is really interesting to me because, like you said, it's kind of like, I don't know, unprecedented, but like Connect wasn't even like a superstar at the mid-major level, right? Like he was a good player, but like I don't remember hearing about him as like a monster dominant college guy. And then he transfers up in competition and gets better. And I think though, like, you know, I've seen maybe some concern, like, you know, like what level is the shooting going to be? Is on the range from good to great to elite, maybe TBD. Right. But I do think it's very impressive that he was able to move up level of competition and maintain his level of and exceed his level of not only production but skill and talent overall. I think that also, I mean, hard to overstate how much. Okay, it can be said for basically every prospect that like going to be better spacing and better spacing, better players, right, better whatever, better coaching. But Tennessee, like that's the bottom of the barrel in terms of like spacing and offensive talent.
He changed their offense. Like he changed what they could do, and like props to Rick Barnes for realizing that. And basically, even Rick Barnes said it at some point. He was like, honestly, yeah, like there are times where we just kind of let Dalton go, where we wouldn't do that in years prior. Even when they had Kennedy Chandler, who was a pretty damn good offensive player.
Dude, Kennedy was so awesome in Tennessee.
Exactly, and they were still holding him to a strict system. And Connect is different. He's bigger. He can score easier and over contested. It's a little more of a pure scorer, so I get that. But even Rick Barnes, of all people, would just be like, brother, go get us a bucket. We need to right now. And he's like, all right, I got you.
Yeah, and I think that's absolutely like something that's worth noting, right? Is that someone who what do we get?
Oh God, they have so many picks. The Thunder sent 5 second-round picks for Dylan Jones.
No way. Wait, that's fucking hilarious.
It's not even a real trade. That's like literally a 2K trade.
That's the funniest trade. I like don't even care because like, I mean, they have to use them somehow. Like,
yeah, they can't draft all these players.
Oh my God.
5 seconds is so funny. The Knicks were probably going to draft because Woj said that they were planning on drafting at both spots. And Sam Presti was like, I'll give you 5 seconds. And they were like, okay, fine.
That is so funny.
Where's Collier going?
Like, any other team, it's like what, like any other situation, I'm like, but like OKC literally cannot, like they can't physically roster all of the players that they could pick. Like they don't have enough roster spots. They don't have enough two ways. So like, oh yeah, all 2025 through 2027 seconds. I like that too because you're not like totally hamstringing your future of those picks too as well. It's like,
exactly.
By 2028, you have your picks and whoever else's picks. And like, how many total? I'm sure I could look this up, or someone in the chat could look this up. But like, how many totals? Like, what percentage of like their total like second round pick capital is that? Because that's
seriously,
you're so correct that this is just like a straight 2K trade. It's literally like, we'll send you. Yeah, it's like I'm just gonna throw in as many second round picks as I need to make this meter go all the way to the right. Like,
yeah. But I did that. I did that a couple. I think yesterday with one of I was literally playing like my expansion league team 2K. And I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna keep throwing seconds until they're like, all right, fine, we'll do it. I'm like, yeah, let's go. So here's the question: is there a world where the T-Wolves are like, fuck it, we'll just take Collier and have him and Rob? That'd be crazy.
Oh my God, that would be amazing. That would be so cool. I think it's possible. Wouldn't shock me.
So who's left? It's them at 27.
Phoenix,
Denver's not at 28. Phoenix. Oh,
Phoenix,
I want to see him go to the Suns.
No, me neither. I think it would be like good just from the perspective of like getting a talent like that. Talent, like timeline wise, it's just not a match, right?
So
Minnesota, they got Shannon. They got Shannon.
Jazz to Cody at 10, right? And then they have 29 and 32. So they still need a guard, which is lovely. So that has
the Wolves took Shannon.
They did.
I think that's probably good.
Damn, Shireman and Collier, those are two of my guys right there.
Yeah. So Shannon to the Wolves, I mean, like, makes sense, I guess, just to keep adding to your, like, absolute fucking treasure chest of long defensive wings, right? Like someone who I think maybe isn't like the craziest ceiling guy, but can absolutely fill minutes. Like, and I think
Shannon's nice, yeah. Especially late in the first, like after guys like Dadier and stuff go, like, and AJ Johnson, you get a guy who's 24 and can easily play NBA minutes, 10, 20 minutes a game right away whenever you need him on a playoff team.
Yeah, exactly. Like we talked a little bit like about Shannon as a possible like Bucks pick as someone who like would have been really good in that spot.
Right.
Just like, again, I'm not huge on him just because of like the age and some of like my personal philosophy with ceiling, but I think he is like an awesome on-ball defender, right? Like he's going to be a great transition slasher overall. And yeah, I think like just supercharge that Minnesota defense. Like I think it makes a lot of sense. I would have preferred them taking Collier, but and apparently
I don't know.
Phoenix
I
taking
hope he goes to
Ryan
the Jazz,
Dunn.
honestly. That'd be great.
The Suns are taking Ryan Dunn. Ryan.
Say again?
The Suns are taking Dunn.
I like that. That's why I mocked him too, actually, at 22. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think that makes so much. I mean, they just like so badly need paint protection, athleticism on the wing.
Good for them actually making a smart draft pick for once.
I know, it's crazy. The Suns made a good pick. They didn't take someone terrible.
I know. Yeah, they always fuck it.
I think Dunn, if there's any offense that you can afford to have a guy like Dunn I think Phoenix is a good bet. Just because for all of their faults, you have Durant, you have Booker, you have Beal. And if there's any like offensive system that can maybe insulate Dunn while he grows or hopefully gets better, and just like his defense is truly absurd. Like I don't think it's like a hot take or anything crazy to say that he's like the best, like, at the moment, pound for pound, like the best defensive player in this class. And
no, he definitely is.
Truly absurd defensive prospect on and off the ball. I really like this. I think this is a great pick. I'm going to give this honestly like a B+, A-. Like, I think this is a really nice pick for them. Like,
yeah, I'm with you. I like him a lot.
I think a good understanding of like their own weaknesses and needs, and then making a pick to address that. And I think that's like maybe like when I say that like that, the bar feels so low. It's like, wow, they're taking a guy who they need. But like with the Suns, I feel like the bar has been so low draft wise, and I'm like, wow, they took a guy who they like, who fits their team and their direction. So yeah, I like it a lot.
Yeah, I love Ryan Dunn. I think he's worth like you said, he's worth the project offensively, especially on a team where he's not going to need to play that much offense really at all, especially early on. He's an unbelievable defender. He's one of the best defenders I've ever evaluated.
It's crazy. He is like, I mean, like the fact that he probably is like best as a 5 on offense at the moment is like almost fine because he can do it on defense more than like basically any 6'9" guy with like I know he had like he had like a 10 or 11 block rate this year, which is just like
he's a freak.
So insane. And I honestly really, really like that pick. It's just like makes a lot of sense. Who is a better prospect, which defensive prospect between Dunn and Thibault? I would say Dunn.
Yeah, he definitely does.
I think Thibault was just like, obviously like these issues have become magnified in the league, but he was always inconsistent. Even if like he got so many steals and blocks in that like Hopkins zone, it was just like he was always prone to like errors and being exploited and stuff by smart offenses. And Dunn just doesn't have that. Like Dunn isn't like the best on-ball defender. Like he's good, but like great players can get him off the dribble, but like there isn't really a way to like exploit Ryan Dunn. Like there isn't like a weakness you can point out. And
defensively,
just how bad is the AJ Johnson pick?
I don't know. I feel so weird about it.
It's just like it's not even as much as like it's just strange. Like
they have so many guys on the board that made sense for them, but the Bucks front office is so strange. They did a shitty job putting their team together last year, so I'm not surprised.
we were talking about, right, how much they just we were literally saying this before they've been to pick. They have such an obvious need for athleticism in the front court, like such an obvious gap there. And there were so many guys. Oh my God, the Jazz got Collier.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Sign me up. Give me a jersey.
Oh my God, let's go. Danny Ainge, you brilliant man. Oh
right? Seriously.
Oh my goodness. I mean, what else can we really say? Like, it's not even like at this point, it's just like the value is absurd. But I think for Utah specifically, like,
Perfect.
I really like the situation, right?
Yeah, I think it's a perfect fit. They're going to need a playmaking guard outside of Keontae because Sexton's not going to be there forever. Clarkson's not going to be there forever. So I think having Keontae and Collier, I think they're actually very, very similar skill sets.
I think Keontae,
in a good way.
I think Keontae and Collier like very synergistic. Just because I think Keontae's biggest weakness to me is his inability to like consistently create separation downhill on the ball. Like he can struggle like trying to like get by defenders and create separation, but he's an amazing like his shot making is so good and versatile. He's such an awesome passer. And Collier's best thing is his ability to create separation and get downhill. And I think Kaishan's shooting opens up a lot. That is not Kaishan. I was thinking of a different George. Thinking of K. George. Keontae. I think that's such a good long-term backcourt pairing. I wasn't even really thinking about that at first, but you're absolutely right. That's like an awesome pairing. And I just really trust Will Hardy to get the most out of him. Like I am such a Will Hardy believer. Like I trust him so much to make the right to like put these guys in positions to see. Like we've seen what Hardy has done with all of these players and how he's like turned this pretty mid Jazz roster into like a near playoff play-in threat. And yeah, I honestly just kind of love the way that Ainge is building this out. Like just, there isn't necessarily like a lot of roster fits, but it's like, just get a bunch of really talented guys that we believe we can develop. Maybe they want to stick and develop all these guys. My theory has been that Ainge is trying to build the next great star consolidation package after OKC. Because right now we've seen basically any star that comes on the market, OKC can beat anyone's offer. Like they're pretty much no one who can beat OKC's offer. But once they exhaust some of their resources, because they will have to inevitably, Utah has like who else is beating Utah with their picks? Their Laurie obviously, or they could keep Laurie, use Bryce, Keontae, Hendricks, Collier, Cody, whoever they want, whatever group of those to get another legit star to come, and then have Laurie as your second star. You have Kessler. Like I am bullish on the Jazz's future. I will say that.
Yeah, me too. I gotta jump off. I'm sorry, I have to jump off. It's we're in different time zones.
What?
I said I gotta jump off because we're in different time zones over here.
Ryan, thank you so much for coming on. Why don't you tell the people what you do, where they can find you, where they can find your work, any of that?
If you search my name on social media, you should be able to find it, and you can find me in Las Vegas at Summer League in 2 weeks. 2 weeks? I don't know.
I hope to be there. Not guaranteed, but I would love to be there. We had
no, you actually can't because of the Josh Giddey situation. So it's I'm just messing around. Let me know if you're going. Enjoy the rest of the draft. All right.
Of course, we'll hang out if we'll have our fun just like we did the last year. All right. Thank you so much, Ryan, and have a good night, man.
See you, buddy.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you to Ryan again. Go check him out. A good friend of mine, just a good guy, makes fun content. Holy shit, Collier. I didn't really get to talk about the Dylan Jones pick because of just shit that was happening. So I think the Thunder drafted the Thunder's kind of biggest issue. One of their biggest issues was how they couldn't crack the defense. They couldn't make skip passes. They couldn't flip the court. Jones is the best skip passer in the draft. Straight up. Nobody is a better skip passer than Dylan Jones. in terms of getting the ball from one side of the court to the other in one motion. I figured it was Kenny Beecham. I don't know what other Kenny would be dejected enough to be talking about the Bulls tonight. But yeah, but yeah, Kenny is good. A longtime friend of mine, and I am stoked to see him having the success that he has. Just a great guy. But man, Collier, I can't believe it. Yeah, I think Dylan's offensive fit is incredible. I think he makes so much sense in their like read, react, roll, replace system. But overall, like, they drafted my favorite. The Thunder always. The Thunder drafted my favorite. The Thunder drafted all my favorite players. They literally draft all my guys every time. They draft all my guys. Waiting for this last pick. Talk about best players available. Flip falling. I don't know. Maybe teams are just worried about his athletic tools or the wingspan or some of his shooting inconsistencies. Baylor Shireman. Love that. Okay. Makes sense. There is Baylor. And I'm going to give that I think like a solid like B-ish. Like, I don't hate there. I wonder what a Shireman pick means for the future of like Sam Hauser is what it's saying. Because if they maybe don't want to like bring back Hauser long term, maybe they can use Shireman. But I think it makes, again, like, I probably would have preferred for the Celtics to go in a more upsidey direction just because of how stacked their roster already is. But yeah, cool. First round is over. I'm going to be on for another like 10, 20 minutes breaking down the picks. If anybody has any questions they want to get out, we can do some post-draft recapping, talking about tomorrow. Thank you, man. I appreciate you, Robo, for hanging out, and appreciate everyone for hanging out. We're still here. So, favorite picks of the night. Ron, Sar, I would say. Ron, though, I think maybe I was a little too high on the fit. I don't know. I just believe in Ron so much that I think the talent lays out. Rob, amazing. I love that. I think after talking to Ahmed, I might bump the Edie up to a C-, just because I do think he made good arguments. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. He did make good arguments. So, Raptors at 31 feels like such an obvious Chomchi pick. Like, it's just like it's such a Masai pick. Like, it's such a Masai pick taking Chomchi. Given. I am fairly surprised by Tyler's fall. Yeah. I like Klingon a lot too, Russell. I think maybe I was a little too harsh on it early, like B+. I think I'll give it an A-. I do really like the fit. I think it just makes a lot of sense. The value is really good. Give it a C. I don't know. Just going through and editing my grades before I get roasted on Twitter. I'm going to inevitably get roasted on Twitter for these because that's just kind of my existence here. It's B, but yeah, I love Misi. All of this, like, we talked on here about how much we loved Khalil. We talked about how much we loved Khalil. I cannot believe those. I am stunned about. I can't believe it. I can't believe Dylan Jones. I'm still riding an extreme high from the Dylan Sixers Twitter in a culture war. They really should shut up because McCain is awesome and McCain's going to be a good player. Like, I don't think McCain has the craziest ceiling in the world. We talked a couple times on this pod about false ceiling guys, and I think maybe McCain could be that. But I do think McCain is going to be good. But yeah, AJJ. I don't know. I've tweeted a little bit about AJ Johnson. Like I was saying, well, like I really do want to make it clear that like I am a fan of AJ Johnson's. He was one of the more impressive players of the combine scrimmage, right? He was, but like it just feels like who else was taking AJ Johnson at 23, right? Like, are there really teams like clamoring to, clamoring to take AJ Johnson? Like, basically like crazy for him. But yeah, I don't get it. Am I going to be on live tomorrow? Absolutely. I'm going to be on same thing as tonight. I'm going to be on for 30 minutes before, 30 minutes after, hoping to have some cool guests on. Day 2, you know, not necessarily as cool and exciting as day 1 is, but we're going to have fun and we're going to have a good time here regardless. So yes, I will be streaming tomorrow. Extremely weird that they're having this at like 1 p.m., but I'm fortunate enough to where like this is kind of my job, right? And Pistons Twitter and have better shit. Yeah, I think the Pistons avoiding the Connect one was kind of crazy. But yeah, I love. So who are the best available for tomorrow? So we have. Wait, I can strike through Collier. Beautiful. KJ, so Tyler and Flip are the only ones in my tier 2. Simpson, Durasic, Crawford, Chomsky, Christie, Mogbo, Mitchell, Newton, Furphy, Bona, Mintz, Jinsa, Kaishan went. Let me strike out Kaishan. Anyone else this low go? No, okay. So Cade, actual 60s hoops. As we kind of discussed earlier, I'm pretty sure they're gonna I really can't believe the Celtics drafted Hauser too. That's the funniest thing of all time. We were in Twitter space every time Connect fell, Holland, Buzelis guys were cheering at the others. That's so good, Joe. All right, I'm gonna tweet out my BPA. So my best prospects remaining for day 2. Honestly, I'm so happy. I'm honestly kind of stoked that I honestly like what the Knicks did. The more that I think about it, I like what the Knicks did. I'm honestly really happy that, just like from my personal perspective, that the second round is tomorrow, because I am exhausted and would not want to stay up for another 2 hours streaming. As much as I love this and I love you all, I'm tired. But this is a labor of love. And anyways, but yeah, I think the Knicks plan makes sense. Just that they probably didn't see anyone, rightfully so, I think, who they thought could contribute right away. And they saw that Dadia is, dude, OKC's draft was crazy. They saw that Dadia was going to be available, right? And they're like, I really like Dadia. I love his long-term upside. I'm gonna go after this stream ends. I'm gonna go drink some water. Smart yard with the Jazz and OKC. Thank you, Peck. Thoughts on Portland? Good. I think they had a great day. I love the Denny trade for them personally. I get why Washington did it, but I think Denny is legitimately on maybe the best contract, not the best, but one of the best contracts in the league, no doubt. I think getting like I wasn't super in love with Klingon. At like 5. Hey Antonio, how's it going? I'm glad to hear from you, buddy. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I think the Knicks, like, it makes sense. But yeah, Portland, I like the Denny trade. I think not trading up was good. Yeah, I think not trading up was good. And I think trading, like, again, I don't really care about them trading the 14th pick. Like, Bub Carrington is like, all right, but like, I'm not freaking out about missing out on a guy like Bub Carrington. Like, I like Bub, but you know, it's not like you're like in pain over it, you know? All right, so we have Tyler Smith, KJ Simpson, Duricic. Who is Duricic? Isaiah Crawford, Ulrich Chomchi. Chomchi. Ideal day 2 for our Pacers. Ooh, I've been thinking. Okay, so I need to think about this. And oh shit, I have to work on a day 2 mock. This is shouldn't say oh shit because I am grateful that this is my job for the moment. Like, but I'm tired and second round mock drafts are very hard. But I will do my best, and I'm gonna have that out tomorrow if you're interested in a second round mock draft. Just text. But yeah. Any other questions or anything? Yeah. So ideal day 2 for the Pacers. I want Mogbo. Mogbo would be amazing. Crawford would be amazing. KJ, I would love Duricic. Chomchi would be cool. Furphy even. I'm not like a huge Furphy guy, but Furphy would be good for the Pacers, I think. Sorry, I'm just tweeting. Who else I have? $37. Who else do I like? All right. I think unless anybody else has any other last minute questions or comments, I'm going to end this stream off. I have to work. I love Rokas. Fuck yeah. I have to go work on this second round mock draft and eat some dinner because I am exhausted. But sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, thank you everyone so much for being here. It really does mean a lot. Wait, what am I waiting for? Anyways, it really does mean a lot. Put in a ton of work. And opinion on Reed to Houston, like it. Good. I think it's a really, really good offensive fit. And I think this draft night was awesome. I'll give it like a 4. Like it was so much fun. I guess that's the price we get of like a shitty, bad flat draft is that it was really, just really, really fun, honestly. But yeah, thank y'all for coming out. Like I said, going to be on here tomorrow. The draft starts at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to be on here at starting 12:30 Pacific, 3:30 Eastern. Same deal. Going through all the picks. Going to be grading all of the picks live. The grades aren't going to be as serious because they're second round picks. But grades, the grades are just for fun. I'm going to have some guests on as well to talk about recapping some of the day 1 picks and talk about some of the day 2 picks going on. again, very thankful to all of my guests who generously gave their time and their insights, and I'm excited for tomorrow. But yeah, thank you all for being here. Amazing. As always, you can rewatch any of this on my YouTube. Just under 4 hours. Not bad. Not bad. All right. Awesome. Have a great night, everyone.